Long way, get this shit a long way, shit a long way. Long way, hit it long way, 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 shit long way, long shit long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long finish rich, yeah. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a know shit don't really understand, man. Gotta know shit don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, shit don't understand, shit. She be tripping every day, she be tripping every way, but I gotta get the shit a long way, gotta get the shit a long way. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be the new slaves, yeah. No, we gotta finish rich, no, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand, she don't understand, niggas gotta get rich. She don't understand, sometimes we gotta hit lit, no, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get the shit the long way, yeah. Cause you tryna wrap up a entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, get the shit the long way. My bitch be trippin' back and forth like a phone way. My name is Tori, I ain't playing games, so I'm done talking. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, I said fuck it, bitch, we gon' get some money. I said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I work it, got some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get this shit the long way, get this shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. We gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay for me, yeah. So we gon' get this shit the long way, 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 yeah, we get this shit the long way, yeah. Cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah, we gon' get the long way, yeah.
What's up, everybody? What's up? Let me remove this. Welcome. What's up, Down South Yella? Early Birds. What's going on? Let me remove a couple things here. What's up, Quentin? How you doing? Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt on a Sunday. Well, we're just going to talk about anything financial, and I'm going to just yabber on and talk about until somebody want to come up and talk to me. But anyway, well, welcome. If you're this first time to my channel, SMD, my name is LJ Young. What's up, Nick? And I am the founder of SMD. I am not SMD. I am part of SMD. SMD is a family of people that understand what I teach. What I teach is my gift. And what is my gift? I know that capitalism is psychological. Okay, this is a mathematical fact. It doesn't matter how you feel about what I'm saying. When you hear me say capitalism is psychological, and you're like, what? What's it? It doesn't matter how you feel. Math does not care how you feel about it because it's a mathematical fact. Anyway, with this knowledge, with this knowledge of knowing that capitalism is psychological, I understand that currency is you guys, debt slaves. You guys are the gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, rubies, paper money, everything. You guys are cryptocurrency. You guys are everything. Currency doesn't exist for you in any form. Now, even when you're hearing me, you're probably like, what's this crazy guy talking about? It's irrelevant how you feel about what I'm saying. I'm going to keep repeating that. It's irrelevant. Okay. With knowing that capitalism is psychological, I also know there's a positive side and there's a negative side. Debt slaves, you guys live on the negative side. Okay. What's the negative side? Believing that you can buy houses with mortgages. Mortgages buy people, not houses. They don't buy mortgages. They cannot buy a house. Okay. That's mathematically, you cannot save for retirement while having student loan debt. You can't go on vacation. If you're making car payments, you can't do stuff like that. But you guys still do because you guys live on the negative side of the psychological economy. And the psychological part is that you guys don't know you are. You don't know you live there. You guys don't know. No one in the world can own equity in a mortgaged house. Who told you that? Your friends? It got to be all your friends telling you that you have appreciation and equity. Do you know equity is a word? That doesn't mean anything. The equity is not money. That's a word. And when you're talking about that, are you talking about the positive side of equity or are you talking about the negative side of equity? If you hear somebody talking about they have equity in their mortgaged house, they're talking to you from the negative side of the economy. And if you're a person listening to this and you believe you have equity in your mortgaged house, this is what I want you to do. Okay. Open up your calculator. I want you to put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. You see that large negative number on the calculator? That says you're on the negative side of the economy. Now, if you want to believe it or not believe it, that's totally up to you. I'm just here to show you something. Okay. I'm not here to convince you of anything. If I try to, if I, trying to convince you of mathematics, of the laws of mathematics, makes me the fool. Do you understand? If I try to convince you to believe the calculator, that makes me the fool. So I'm just here to show you something. So I don't do that. I don't make a fool of myself. Okay. I don't do that. Right. So anyway, everybody here in the SMD family understand what I say. They understand. I'm not saying anything fancy. I'm not some genius guy that's from another planet, all this other. I know it looks like that to you, but it's not like that. Okay. They know I'm just trusting the calculator. That's it. I just deliver the message differently than others. That's it. I'm just delivering the message differently. That's it. My gift is the ability to do that. The majority of people that understand that capitalism is psychological, they don't want to talk to you guys. They don't want to talk to you because you guys don't know what you're talking about. What's up, NC Biggs? What's going on? KB? Anyway, so with this gift, you let's see. It's very rare. Okay. So you will have basically X-ray vision through the financial system. You will be participating in the system on the positive side. This is where what I do, hold on. What I do is help people come to the positive side of the economy and participate correctly from the positive side. Like you cannot, if you're cheating on your taxes, not only is that against the law, that means cheating means you don't know how to play. That means you're on the negative side. Because when you come to the positive side, you see the true purpose of taxes. They're not here to destroy you or prevent you from getting wealth or nothing. None of that is true. That's only from people in the negative side. They say things like that. People that you hear that are scared of the IRS or scared of being audited or the IRS is going to come knocking on your door. The reason why they feel like that because they're not playing right. That's why they feel like that. When you come to the positive side of it and you see the true purpose of taxes and how they work, you know not to cheat because you cannot become wealthy if you don't understand how they work. When you're here in the United States of America, they say, hey, we got a tax system. Here it is. Here's all the rules. All you got to do is understand the rules. That's it. No different than any game you play. You can't just come on the court and come on basketball court and just play the way you want to play, run with the ball like a football. You can't do that. What do? They kick you out the game. You get penalized. It's the same thing. You think you could just play and not play right? That doesn't make any sense. And I want you to know, if you're this person that you are cheating on your taxes, and when I say cheat, I mean not filing, pretending you don't have some money in another place and all this other stuff. Cheating alone should tell you what you're a cheater. Why are you cheating? Because you don't understand how to play. That's why you're cheating. And when you come to the positive side of the economy, I want debt slaves to understand something. You guys are very easy to see here for two reasons. There's two reasons. Number one, you don't know that capitalism is psychological. That's a major thing right there. You guys speak a certain way. Hey, my house is appreciating. Look, I bought my house back in this, and it's appreciated this much. Well, how'd you buy your house back when you first bought it? A mortgage. That means you never bought anything. So nothing is appreciating. You have no equity in nothing. None of that is true. That's how it works. But that's all part of when you come to the positive side and you create a business, creating jobs that helps the economy, because you come to the positive. Like, for example, let me give you an example. You look at Amazon. Do you think Amazon is a positive thing for our economy or a negative thing for our economy? People are like, oh man, look what Amazon is doing. It's closing all the jobs. No, that's called evolution. Everything changes. That's just how it happens. Nothing stays the same forever. The quicker you understand evolution, that no matter how much money you have, nobody stops evolution. So you better go with it or you're going to get left. If stores are closing down, that means that something else is happening. You better figure it out, else you're going to get closed down. Jacqui says, LJ planning on getting a car for a few thousand, has a little rust on the side, but still a good pickup. Family is telling me to finance another car because a cheap car shows my money is low. Wow. See what I'm saying? You see what debt slaves say? And usually people like that say things like that, they're making car payments. Do you want, like, if this is you and you're listening to this and you're making car payments, let me tell you something. You don't have, the reason why you're making car payments is because you have no money. That's why you finance the car you're driving right now. If you're listening to this in your car, if you're making payments, this car is not yours. Did you know that? Look around. Just look how nice, look at the leather, look how clean it is on the inside. You got all the latest gadgets and electronics in there. Guess what? None of that is yours. They're letting you use it. The bank. You know the blue book value of the car that you're driving right now? All you got to do is call your bank and say, hey, what's the balance on my loan? The balance on the loan is the blue book value of the car that you're driving right now. All you got to do is just, can you check your bank account on your phone? Just do it on your finance phone. Do this, okay? Open up your finance phone, okay? Go to your bank account. Because if you're making car payments, I'm pretty sure your phone is financed, okay? So do that. Log into your bank account and check the balance on your car loan. That's the blue book value of the car you're driving. That's how much that's how much this car that you're driving is worth to you. That's the value it for you. Because what you guys don't know, debt slaves, the car is different values for the person that's driving it. The blue book value, if you're financed the car, right, and you go look up the blue book value in some kind of book or something, that doesn't apply to you. Your blue book value is at the bank. The bank is the only one that knows the blue book value of the car you're driving right now. It doesn't matter. The blue book value, when you look it up on Google, that's for people who pay cash for cars. Not for people, like, once you finance a car, blue book value, year, make, and model, gas or electric become instantly irrelevant. Instantly. But that's the psychological part, debt slaves. You guys don't know that. That's the wonderful thing about being on the positive side of the economy. That's what I help people do. When you look at Amazon, listen, because since everybody knows Amazon, you know, hey, they moved here to get these tax breaks. They create jobs that create revenue that creates tax revenue. Of course they do. Let me tell you something, debt slaves, what you guys can't see. It really doesn't matter what a debt slave thinks or believes or how things should go. You guys are making car payments. They're making billions of dollars and you're making car payments. Who do you think they're paying attention to? The people that are making billions of dollars that are keeping this economy going. Now, believe it or not, by being in debt, You guys are contributing to the economy the most. You guys are contributing to the economy the most. Car payments, mortgage payments, thinking you own shit. And when you don't own nothing, it's bananas. They want me to build credit by financing another car, done dealing with the bank. Wow. Just, you know what? When you cross over to the positive side, and I want people to listen to this, this is going to be the hardest for you. Okay. When you cross over to the positive side of the economy, uh, the hardest part is going to be how to deal with your family members, because they're not going to understand. They're not going to understand what you're doing or why you're doing it or anything. They won't understand it. You cannot save them. Okay. So don't try. Don't try to convince them. Again, because if you're trying to convince a family member, it's like trying to convince them of the calculator. Hey, please believe the calculator. Who's the fool? If you're trying to help them believe the calculator, who's the fool? That's you. But the majority of you guys are going to do it because you love them. You love them. And you want them to be free too, just like you. They don't listen. Debt slaves don't know that credit reports are really owner ledgers. You guys, they don't know that. Debt slaves have no idea credit reports are nothing more than owner ledgers. That's how they keep track of all the businesses that own them. And they give them reward credit scores or reward points for staying in debt. Thank you. Thank you for paying back our money on time, making the payments. Here, debt slave, here's a point for staying in debt with us. Thank you. If you want these particular family members to stay in your life, you just can't say nothing. You just got to let them be. You just say when they finance a new car and they think they got an awesome interest rate and they're telling all their friends on social media to go see this person at this dealership. They treated me well. You got to just hey, they come over to show congratulations on your new car. That's what you got to say. If you want them to stay in your life, they don't know. Debt slaves don't know you're not supposed to be financing cars. Debt slaves don't know you're not supposed to be financing anything that goes down in value. You know how embarrassing it is to have to finance a cell phone? Debt slaves think that shit is normal. They believe financing cell phones is normal. They will tell you, they tell each other, oh yeah, I'm only pay $50 a month for this one. For a phone? You mean to tell me you've been working all your life and you can't buy a phone in cash? How come they're not embarrassed? Because they don't know. That's why. They don't know that. I can walk up to a debt slave straight to their face and say, hey, you know, you can't own equity in a mortgaged house. They will look at me with a blank look. I call that a glitch in the debt matrix. Go up to a debt slave with a mortgage and say, I mean, if you got the balls to do it, it's totally up to you. But you say, hey, you can't own equity. It's 100% mathematically impossible to own equity in a mortgaged house. They will just look at you with this blank look. That's called a glitch in the debt matrix. They won't know what you're talking about. They're going to pause for a second, like, what? I've never heard. You got to remember, they will have never heard anybody in their life tell them that. So it's going to catch them off guard. And then they're going to get mad. That's not true, because their program is going to kick in and say, that's not true. All my friends doing it. That's how you build wealth. Robert Kiyosaki says, this is what you do. Real estate is wealth and blah, blah, blah. They start running the program, not having a clue of what they're talking about. And then you just got to walk away. I call that pulling down your mask in public. I don't do that. When you guys hear me on the mic talking, I don't go out in public and talk like this. They'll see me. All the debt slaves will look at me. What is he talking about? What do you mean you can't buy a house with a mortgage? This and that and bloggity blah, blah, blah. That's not true. This and that. And how long you stand there and listen to it, that's totally up to you. But you know the time in your life will be ticking away. I will check that out when I get a chance, NC. Sub Jewel, Anonymous, Malika. Jaw says, LJ, I just did that to a classmate that financed the 2023 Range Rover 75th year edition. That's all you do is, hey, congratulations, nice car. That's what you say. When you come to the positive side, and this is let me, especially the SMD family members, okay? It takes a little bit, it's weird. It takes a little bit to really accept that capitalism is psychological. It takes a minute, but I have to remind myself what I'm thinking is mathematically true. That's what keeps me grounded. Like, okay, this is how it works. This is how it works because math says that that's how it works, right? So it is true. To really accept that takes a while. It takes a while to accept it. You mean people own nothing? No, they own nothing. So everything I'm seeing is bank owned. Yeah, 99% of it. I mean, I had to really accept, this is how I'm talking to myself as I'm driving down neighborhoods, looking at cars on the road, looking at nice trucks and vehicles, electric, gas, whatever. It really doesn't matter. I had to really accept is like, all of that is bank owned. All of it's bank owned. Yes. So when I drive past houses and see solar panels on top of houses, and these people look like they're saving energy, but they have it on a mortgaged house, they own nothing. Nope, nothing. So when they say equity, they don't understand it means nothing. Nope, they don't understand it means nothing. That's not money. People you see on TV with cars and houses, if they're making payments, it's bank owned. So my vision is totally different. I don't look at things the same way you guys look at. Like, for example, here's another example. I know you guys have no money. So that means the stock market is you, because since you have no money to invest in the stock market, that makes the stock market you. The stock market couldn't exist without you. Like, for example, in a stock market, they give you like margin, right? And I'm not an investor. I want you guys to understand. I just know the stock market is you. I understand that if they didn't allow margin, that would hurt the stock market because you guys have no money to invest. Without you, it doesn't exist. Because if you have a mortgage, if you have student loan debt, if you have car payments, if you're making monthly payments on the cell phone you're using to listen to this, that means you have no money to invest. That's why you're making payments. So what are you doing? You're actually borrowing money to invest. It's you. I get it. It's just business, nothing personal. I don't really care how you do it, how you debt slaves do it. I'm just telling you what I see. So you come to the positive side and you know how to invest in the stock market, because I know the stock market is you. I don't listen to some guy on a video or on YouTube. Hey, look at the stock market and look at the lines. This company is really no. I just look at you guys, debt slaves. When here's an example. When student loan payments resume, what do you think is going to happen to the stock market? You guys already don't have no money. Okay. And when student loan payments resume, what you think gonna happen to the car market, the stock market, all the market? Hey, man, student loan people get their money first, baby. They get their money first. Right now, you better believe, like, right now, I always say this too. Right now, you better believe they are looking to plug that tax hole of you guys working 1099. You guys not paying no taxes, not filing, not paying, and just spending money. Just spending money. But what you guys don't know is this. This is what you guys really don't know. When you do that, let me tell you with debt slaves, so you guys understand that you guys, the ones that do these delivery jobs, and you guys are not filing any taxes, let me tell you what you're really doing. You're selling yourself because they're going to own you. And you did it to yourself. You sold yourself by ignoring it. You're selling yourself by ignoring, scared of it. It's got you probably paralyzed. You probably haven't paid your taxes in 4 or 5 years. So now you're paralyzed. Oh my God, they're gonna do me this. The longer you do that, the more you sell yourself. I just want you guys to understand what that really means. Pay attention to the debts that you cannot bankrupt. What do you think that means? You cannot bankrupt taxes. You cannot bankrupt student loan debt. So what does that mean? They own you until you pay it off. That's what that means. That means you always have to work because you got debt. You're owned. Debt slaves have to work. You guys are owned. Go check your personal credit report. How much this is how much it's going to cost you to be free, debt slaves. Log into your online credit report. Scroll past the credit score and look at your total debt. Yep, you're right. That's the cost to own yourself. That's the price of you. You ever want to own you? That's how much it costs. That's the price tag on you. So if you have student loan debt, mortgage debt, car loan debt, collections, credit card debt, I can only imagine how big the price tag is for you. Now remember, many debt slaves don't want to face that. They don't want to do that. They don't even want to look at it. Many debt slaves don't even know how much debt they're in and don't even care. Don't even care. Oh, that'll take me forever. I'll never listen. This is what debt slaves do. That'll take me forever. I'll never be a homeowner if I wait to pay off that student loan debt. What are you talking about? There is no other way to own a home. You have to pay off your debt and buy it with your own money. There's no other way to buy a house. What are you talking about? You think you could buy a house with no money? Only debt slaves believe that. But then when you come to the positive side of the economy, you got to understand that the housing market wouldn't exist if debt slaves knew that. If they knew they couldn't buy a house with a mortgage, the housing market wouldn't exist. I don't want that. You can come to the positive side of the economy, get into real estate with the knowledge of knowing that debt slaves really own nothing. They don't own anything. The bank, listen, the bank owns the houses the whole entire time that they're living in it. They don't even know that. That's the psychological part. And then you come to the positive side of the economy, get into real estate with this knowledge that knowing that nobody could buy a house with a mortgage. They don't know that. So you get into business selling them houses with whatever. It's nothing personal. If I got into real estate, even say like this, me, SMD, and I get into real estate and I start selling houses, I'm not going to tell a debt slave that they cannot buy a house with a mortgage. That would be shooting myself in the foot. I know that they cannot buy anything without a mortgage. They can't buy a house. So telling them that would be shooting myself. So I'm saying if you have this real estate, I'm just saying don't do it for, say like you're a real estate investor with SMD knowledge. I'm just saying don't do it for yourself. Don't you have a house with a mortgage. Okay? I'm saying to you, still sell to debt slaves because that's business. What I'm saying is that, say like you are a person that sells houses or whatever in the real estate game, right? And you don't understand that capitalism is psychological. Once you understand this, you'll know exactly, when you sell, let's say like this, when you sell houses and say like you're in debt, a buyer can tell by your energy that you're desperate in selling this house. A buyer can feel that from you, like, oh man, you better get it now, trying to hurry up. Oh, there's 10 other people trying to get to this house. And though that might be true, it's how you deliver the message to the buyer. When you're debt free and you understand that capitalism is psychological, and the only way a debt slave can buy a house is with a mortgage, but you're debt free, you're not really desperate for the sale. The buyer will be able to feel that energy coming from you, that this is not a desperate thing. Hey, do you want it? You want it. If you don't, you don't. It's not a big deal. I know it's going to sell. You won't scare them with, oh, this house is only going to be on the market for a few more days and all this stuff. You won't scare them with any of that. You'll just tell them, hey, yeah, this house will probably won't be on the market for a couple of days, but hey, but if it sells, I'll call you and let you know. That way you don't have to be thinking about it. You just talk normal. Your energy will be different, and that goes for anything, job and everything. Because I'm not saying that people that understand SMD knowledge don't have jobs. When you have this knowledge and you have a regular job, you understand that a job is a tool. You also understand that the majority of people at your job are there because they have to be there. When you're debt free and have a job, you don't have to be there at the job. You don't have to. You don't have to be begging for overtime. You don't have to be kissing your boss's ass. You go there, do a good job, and you leave. You're no longer working through lunch. You're no longer being a team player. Team player means work for free, work through lunch, kiss your boss's ass, do errand. You won't be doing any of that. If it doesn't involve payment, we're not a slave. Like when you work off the clock, let me tell you something for people that do this, okay? Only debt slaves do this. Work off the clock. That means work for free. And if you work for free, guess what you are? You're a slave. Slaves work for free. I don't care what name they put on it. I don't care if they call it team playing and this is what you have to do to climb the ladder. Working for free means you're a slave. I don't do that. Volunteer my time. Volunteer something I can never give back. You want me to give it away for what? A job? No, I'm not doing that. And even if I ever did that, it would be for a specific purpose to acquire a particular type of knowledge. But when you're debt free at a job, you hear debt slaves complain about work and what they're doing, talk about second mortgages, investing. You can no longer be around that anymore because that's slave splaining. They don't know what they're talking about. People at work, it's like, I remember there's always, when I was a debt slave with a job, there's always things that just don't quite make sense when you're in it, but you don't know it because you're a debt slave on the negative side. I remember when I was I was financing a house. I thought I was buying one. Then the salesperson says, hey, you want to buy down some interest points on your interest rates, which will save you more money in the long run. Now at that moment, there's something that clicked in my brain, like, that doesn't make sense. Something is weird about that, right? Buy down future interest rates points, which will save you money in the long run. Which, when you hear it, it sounds wonderful. You're like, oh yeah, let's do that. But it costs you money up front. You're financing the whole thing. So you don't really care what it costs to do this thing. What I was really doing is financing down interest rate points that they don't even exist, right? I'm financing down something that I don't even know exists. It's just crazy. But you don't know that as a debt slave. You don't know that. financing more money up. Oh my God, it's just horrible. But you got to remember, the bank wasn't doing anything to me. The salesperson, they were doing business. That's my fault if I didn't trust the calculator. That was me. That's my fault believing that I could buy a house with a mortgage. That's why they was financially abusing me, because I thought I could buy a house with a mortgage. That's called business. I know a woman saying she doesn't plan on paying that student loan debt. She plans to die with it, but preaches to me about saving for retirement. Right, exactly. Debt slaves don't know that they're running a program. They really believe that they have a choice not to pay off the student loan debt. They believe they have a choice. What makes them believe they have a choice? Because they believe they bought a house with a mortgage. They believe they can save for retirement while having student loan debt. That's a belief. But listen, it's also business. I want people to understand there's a positive side of the economy. It's business. That's part of. I always use Dave Ramsey as an example. He says, hey, when you get down to pay off all your debt, when you get down to your mortgage, start putting away 15% into retirement. Well, according to the laws of mathematics, you cannot save for retirement while having a mortgage. You can't do that. That's called business. Whose problem is it if you believe you can do something that you mathematically cannot? Whose problem is that? That's yours. That's nobody else. That's not Dave Ramsey's problem. That's your problem. If you just listen to Dave Ramsey, he always kind of gives you hints and stuff that he does. Hey, nothing's in my name. I don't put. Why do you think that is? Why do you think Dave Ramsey? Yeah. Oh, so to you, it probably thinks, oh, so he doesn't get sued. Well, that's probably one of the reasons, but I'm talking. There's a main reason. You cannot know that until you own yourself. You cannot know that unless you actually own a house, free and clear, no mortgage and no debt. She said, I'm not a team player. I'm a team player if it benefits me, for sure. Nick says, what the agent was doing was allowing you to pay extra interest up front. Yep. That's scammy because you might not even be there that long. Exactly. It's just business and it's scammy. It is. I look at that as riding the borderline, right? Put it to me. Put it this way. If it's legal, anything outside of that is how I feel about it, which is irrelevant. Okay, it really is irrelevant, right? When, like, put it this way, I remember when I was paying down my student loan debt, right? I took it upon myself, which is a natural response, right? I took it upon myself. Say like my student loan debt payment was $300 a month, okay? I thought in my mind, if I pay $400 a month, my student loan debt will go down. What I didn't know is this. I had to, if I was going to pay extra on my student loan debt to pay it down, I had to call them and tell them that's what I'm doing. Since I didn't, they was taking the extra money and applying it to interest. They was applying it to interest. Why in the world would they do that? It's a business move. That's all. That's just because it makes absolutely no sense. Who in the world would pay extra money on a monthly payment to be applied to interest, to be applied to future payments? Nobody. So once I called them and said, hey, after a year of not paying attention, it's my fault. I don't blame the student loan place. I don't think it's their fault. It's my fault. So I called them and said, hey, I've been paying on this a year and I don't see my balance going down. They said, oh, sir, we've been applying it to interest. Now that you're telling us to apply it to principal, That is what we'll do. But you have to call us and tell us. I had to call and tell them the obvious. It's just business. Did I want to cry of paying extra payments that are gone forever? I wanted to cry. Yes, of course. But I knew at that point I had no choice. It's time to pay this shit off. I have to. No longer do I have to deal with the president, what his decision is going to be on student loan debt, if it's going to be forgiven or not, the rules of the actual companies that hold the student loan, that are managing the student loan debt, all their rules and nah, man. Paid off, done. But when I come to the positive side of the economy and look at that same scenario, that was brilliant. Let me tell you why it was brilliant. I'm gonna tell you why what they did was brilliant. Okay, this is what they did. So now that I can see what it did, right? So when I was paying extra on my student loan debt, I was paying $100 a month extra. I noticed every time my statement came in, I noticed that my due date of the payment was getting pushed further and further out. So when I paid extra, say like the next monthly payment came, the next statement came and said, hey, you don't have to make a payment until the month after next because you paid extra. And each time I paid more and more, my due date kept getting pushed further and further out. So when I saw that, I didn't say anything because this is what I thought. Man, if something happens, if my car breaks down or if I lose my job or something like that, I won't have to worry about that payment because it's so far ahead. So I didn't bother looking to see why they were doing that because it didn't make sense. But I was like, oh, I can use that as a cushion. That's exactly what they wanted me to think. Let me leave it there just in case for emergency something happened on a bad month. I did exactly what they wanted me to do. They knew that psychologically what I would do, and that's exactly what I did. And I think I even used it a couple times. Oh man, maybe I wanted to buy something or I needed extra money on a bill or something. I said, you know what? I don't have to make a payment this month. So I'll just skip that payment and use this money to do that. Now that money comes right back to them. That was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's exactly what I did. Which say anonymous, feels good to be debt free. It's beautiful Sunday. Last night I slept like a baby, woke up with some wine and some crispy bacon and chilling, watching S&D preaching while smoking on a Cuban cigar. What advice would you give to someone who comes to this knowledge at a later stage in life and is close to retirement, yet has a mortgage? Each person is different. The scenario has to be different. It's like it counts on if they come to this stage late in life with how much debt. If they woke up at, let's say, like, to me, in my mind, you have a minimum of age 45 to wake up. Okay, 45 is like the deadline. If you don't wake up by age 45 and you're in deep debt, you're going to be in some trouble. Because I started waking up around age 40, 39, changing to 40. I was like, okay, I'm making six figures. I'm driving a nice car. I'm living in a nice place. I'm not feeling something. I knew something was missing, even though I had physically around me, I had everything that a person making six figures is supposed to have, according to the debt matrix. You're supposed to have this stuff. When I acquired it, I knew there was something that I was still missing. I was like, something's not feeling right. What it is that I didn't own any of it. I was making payments on all of it, right? But I didn't know it at the time. And I had student loan debt still, deep in student loan debt, credit cards, all that. I had all that. That's what I did. Basically, I didn't own myself. That was the problem. Because I got into like bodybuilding and getting it, I was looking for something just to stand out from the rest, right? And I was like, even though I'm in shape and I got a six pack and all that, I said something's still not right. Something is still not making sense. I'm not feeling right. I was still in debt. I was just an in shape, 6-figure earning debt slave. That's what I was. What's up, Andre? It all counts on what age they are at. Okay. Because let me tell you something. If I woke up, say like this, say like I continued on with my life as a computer engineer making 6 figures, but still going through life with a mortgage, car payments, etc., and debt. And then I wake up at 60. I am towards the end of my career. It all counts on, because with technology, you guys, when you get into IT, you got to stay up on the latest shit. That's what I did. I always stayed up on the latest technology, because that's how fast it moved. Because if you stayed and got comfortable in a particular type of software that was one day going to be extinct, you have a problem. So I stayed up on that. I'm sorry. What's you saying on Monique? Yes, I sold a house almost 2 years ago, debt free, and thank Andre and LJ every day for speaking life. And you are welcome, Omanike. Very welcome. Oh, that's what I was doing. 1 second here. That's why I lost where I was. Sorry about that. I lost my place because I was trying to do 2 things at once here. That's what I was, QJC. I was 6-figure in shape debt slave. That's what I was. I knew something was missing. When things like, let me tell you guys something. Okay. So when 2020 hit, everything stopped. Okay. Workouts, everything. This allowed me to concentrate on the psychological side of myself, right? I was not so focused in on the body as the way I was used to, because I wouldn't say obsessed with it, but I was just proud of what I did with my body at a particular age. I was just proud of it, right? But I knew there was more. And 20 allowed me to stop and focus on the psychological part of myself. So now I'm going back into what I know I can do with my body, but including the psychological knowledge that I have today. It's very different. It's very different. Now, don't get me wrong. I thank God that I started changing my physical health in my late 20s. I just paid attention to what was happening to my body in my late 20s. It was starting to look bad, and I didn't like that, because I knew I was too young for my body to be looking like that. So I made a choice, and I'm so glad I did. I said, no way, I'm not going to let that happen, and I didn't. Now I get to benefit that. I'm benefiting from that in my older age, because muscle memory is amazing. It really is amazing. You use your muscles enough doing a certain thing, it just stays that way, because you've just been doing. So that's how it is right now. So, it's not going to really be that hard for me at an older age to get back into the shape. Now, I'm not going to be involved in it as I used to be, because the interest is not there like that anymore. When I was really into it, I was just had a really strong interest, right? Now it's not as strong, but it's not to the point to where fuck it, I'm gonna just let my body go. That'll never happen. I'll never allow my body to do that. But I'm just saying it's not as strong as it used to be. You know. Also, what I wanted to talk about too is this. If you're young, right, and you come across this channel and you understand what SMD does, and you understand that capitalism is psychological, and I show you that, right? And you're young, you can see the jobs that are going to be money, the business, not jobs, businesses, because you can create a business or a job, it's totally up to you what you want, that are going to be making money. Okay, so let's go through the reason why you do this, because you'll know what debt slaves, you'll go by what debt slaves do. Okay, now when you understand capitalism psychological, you understand that debt slaves marry other debt slaves, because when you come to the positive side of the economy, you own yourself, you understand that capitalism is psychological, you're never going to marry a debt slave. This goes for man or woman, it doesn't matter. You're never going to procreate with debt slaves. You're never going to live with a debt slave. You're never going to have a relationship with a debt slave. You're never going to be boyfriend or girlfriend with a debt slave. That'll never happen. So what that means is debt slaves will marry other debt slaves. That's why the divorce rate is so high, because they're in debt. That's why they're always fighting over money, because they're in debt. They get together. They think it has something to do with a debt slave's career or how much money they make a year. That none of that matters if they're in debt. Then they get together. You start a business. If you're young and you want to be a lawyer, be a divorce lawyer, a very good one. You be a debt-free, that understand capitalism is psychological divorce lawyer, because debt slaves will always be getting divorced. That will always happen. You will make a lot of money knowing that, because they will always be getting divorces, and they'll be spending so much money because they'll be fighting with each other. Who's gonna get what finance property? Debt slaves will spend money. Listen, they will finance a lawyer to fight over finance property. Who's going to own this debt? I'm not giving her the house. What do you mean giving it? Does the house have a mortgage? Yeah, give it to her. They spend money fighting over finance property. Now you become a lawyer and you just help them do it. They're not focused on you or how much you charge. They're focused in on the other debt slave, fighting them. That's how you're going to make money. You keep doing it. Whatever, hey, you do what you need to do, get involved. You can pretend to be emotionally involved into their case. It's just business. It's nothing personal. You can get in there and be a very, very good lawyer too. That's what you do. That's what I'm saying. If it's your passion, but I'm just saying, the divorce lawyer, you will make a lot of money. That's forever money. Forever money. While they're fighting, hey, women, this and it's money and that, and women, 40% of women, they'll think it has something to do with color, race, where you live, what part of town you live in, while you're collecting bread, doing whatever they're asking you to do, file paperwork. You want to fight over some finance, but hey, whatever, it all costs money. Perfect career, perfect. You will always have business, always. Especially if you're good at what you do. Drug Hour says, what is the best way to get this message out more to people to make them aware or work at a bank? Oh, no, I work at a bank, excuse me. This knowledge, Drug Hours, doesn't really work like that. Okay, and honestly, it will never work like that. This knowledge can only be acquired if a debt slave realizes something is wrong. Like when you guys come across, the majority of you guys that come across this channel, it really doesn't matter your age. Okay, I want you guys to say age has nothing to do with it. You come across this channel and then you hear something, say like man, this guy, he's saying things that I've never heard before. That means you're in tune to hear whatever I have to say because it's catching you. The majority of people that come across this channel leave because they have no idea what I'm talking about. They think it's crazy. That's not true. So they just leave because that's the programming. But the majority, some of you guys that come here and stay and then you're intrigued, you're like, wait a minute. Nobody else on the internet is saying anything like what he says. Nobody. It doesn't matter what social media platform I go to. Nobody is saying what this guy is saying. That means you're in tune to what I'm saying. And then I start using math, and then it brings you in more. Wait a minute, his math is right. You're right. You don't, if you have a mortgage, you don't own a house. You're right. Mortgages by people, not houses. Exactly. And then you'll see it for what it is. And then you'll come to the positive side of the economy. And that part at the end, drug hours, where you say I work at a bank, I want you to understand the level of S&D. Okay. The majority of people that you see work at a bank, where like if you can walk in and talk to that person, 9 times out of 10, they're a debt slave. They don't know that capitalism is psychological, because people that know capitalism is psychological don't work at banks. They're not going to be the teller. They're not going to be the person behind the desk that's going to help you get a house loan or a mortgage or a car loan that's helping you. They're not going to be that person. Those are people that just work at, debt slaves work at banks. Just because a person works at a bank doesn't mean that they're not a debt slave. There's people that work at banks that make car payments. I can only imagine a person mental state when they are waiting for Biden and Congress to decide their future on student loans. I know, isn't that amazing? Debt slaves waiting for something outside themselves to save themselves. It's got to go through Congress, and then it's got to go through the Supreme Court to do this and see if it's that and this and that. You guys there's another choice. If you don't want to wait for the Supreme Court or the president, all you got to do is go out and get some jobs and pay it off yourself. That's all you got to do. You don't have to wait for nobody. You get out, reduce your lifestyle, stop making car payments, stop getting the latest iPhone a lot of you guys are stuck in the iPhone loop. You guys can't even get out. Reduce your lifestyle and do it yourself. That's all you got to do. You don't have to wait on nobody. You don't have to wait on anybody. The same people that are waiting to hear from Biden do whatever he's going to do are the same people financing new phones, waiting for the Apple sale to come out. Aliens own the debt and equity of the bank. Aliens own the debt and equity of the bank. Debt slaves don't even try to understand that. You know what I learned the other day? Check this out. This is what I learned the other day. Do you know the majority of debt slaves have no idea that the U.S. is capitalist? Do you know that? Ask a debt slave, what type of economy are we in here in the United States of America? Do you know debt slaves will not know that? You know there are debt slaves that don't even care. They don't even give a fuck what type of economy we are in. That was so far from my brain because I know what it is, right? So I'm automatically in my mind assuming that everybody else knows what type of economy that we're in. Do you know they don't even know? Don't even care. I was like, what? What the hell? You don't even, what is that? What is what? Capitalism? I was like, the program is so powerful. It's so strong. Yeah, I just work because I'm 23. Yep. And I just need a job to keep money flowing, but I have no debt. I be buying everything cash. And you know what? I want you to understand at 23, okay? I really want you to just imagine I am because what you're looking to find is this, drug hours, is a psychological version of yourself. Okay. That's the only way. Let me tell you something. That's the only way I can see that. That's the only way I can see that capitalism is psychological. Why? Because I found the psychological version of myself. That's what you're looking for right now. And to have this knowledge at 23, you just have no idea what guaranteed multimillionaire, guaranteed. Just with knowing that capitalism is psychological at 23. You're not going to, 9 times out of 99% chance that you're not going to end up in divorce court, a weekend father, paying lawyers to so you can fight for your rights for your child and taking half your shit. And that won't, 99% chance that won't happen to you. Why? Because you'll never involve yourself with a debt slave. Congratulations to having this knowledge at 23. Just listen to what you're saying. Hey, I be buying everything in cash. I just want you to listen to the way you said that, right? That's the only way to buy anything. See, once you understand, you won't even say, hey, I be buying everything in cash, because you will know that's the only way. There is no other way. Imagine that, Andre. Those levels all your life. What do you guys, listen, I'm not a doctor. Okay. I'm not claiming to be a doctor. I'm just going by the obvious. Imagine your body getting these kind of hormones every single day caused by stress. That cannot be good for the body. The body constantly getting cortisone levels and adrenaline constantly every single day, when it's not, you can prevent that, right? You can stop all that, but it's getting something that it doesn't need every single day over years. What do you think that happens to the body? Something, I'm assuming, negative. Combine this: cortisol levels, adrenaline, barely any sleep. The sleep that you get is not really good because you're stressed. So the little sleep that you do get is not really wonderful because you're stressed over years. But what I want you guys to understand, this is what I learned by owning myself and understanding that capitalism is psychological. The brain, listen, without the brain, you can't do nothing. Do you understand me? The brain controls everything. The brain works for years. Listen, adrenaline, cortisol, no sleep, stressed all the time, and the brain can still function for years. Bad eating, no exercise, it still will make you work for you. It still will have you functioning for years. Imagine what the brain does. Imagine what the brain can do with proper sleep, no stress, good food, exercise, plenty of sleep. What do you think your brain could do then? I'm telling you what it can do right now. That's why I'm here. This is why I know capitalism is psychological, because I treated my brain right. That's why I know this knowledge. That's why I'm here. You think I can know anything I know today if I didn't treat my brain right? No. Again, you can believe it or not. It's totally up to you. You have student loan, you making phone payments, or if your phone is financed every year and you don't really give a fuck, so what? Okay, whatever. I'm not here to convince anybody of the calculator. Nope, not doing any of that. Amazon employees will be able to use stock as collateral for home loans. I hear this and my jaw hit the floor, and I needed a heated blanket for how cold they do debt slaves. Amazon employees will be able to use stock as collateral for home loans. Wow. locking them into the job. Imagine a Amazon employee doing that, and they always build houses around the big jobs. Like if you can, if you got a housing or complex or apartment complex around an Amazon facility and you own it, you are golden. Now, people with money, I'm sure they share that information amongst themselves well before it actually happens. Okay, because I'm gonna give you an example. I lived in Seattle, Washington. Okay, before I moved to South Carolina. Now, in this particular area called Kent, Washington, there is a huge Amazon facility, huge, ginormous. Now, before they put it there, it was all farmland. It was all farmland. Okay. One day, as I'm driving to work, I used to go to work this one day all the time, passing this area. One day, they built this fancy hotel in the middle of this fucking farm field. A nice hotel, okay, a nice one. And I was like, I said to myself, why would they put a hotel here? That's dumb. There's nothing around here. Okay, that's what I said. That is really dumb. Up the street is the freeway, and you a few miles to the airport. It's not real. I said, okay, maybe they're trying to get that traffic or something, right? Right after that, there was a little strip mall area, Starbucks, Subway, sandwich place, all these. I was like, why would they put that here? That makes no sense. Next thing you know, they was breaking ground for an Amazon facility. You mean to tell me they didn't talk? Yes, they did. That's just business. I don't care. Once you get to a certain level, once you understand capitalism is psychological and you get to the positive side of the economy, let me tell you something. That's how it works. So what? If you're making car payments, it doesn't matter what you think. If you're begging for student loan forgiveness, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. If you finance your phone every single year, it doesn't matter how you feel about it, of how it works. That's just how it works. Once you come to the positive side of it, you'll be doing it with them. They will be talking to you. You know, when I see something like that, Amazon allowing whatever, right? They're locking the employees in. Now they can't leave. I'm sure that's over a specific amount of time and all this other shit, all these stipulations. Because if you're using that, first of all, if you're using that, that means you have absolutely no money to get a house. First of all, not only do you not know that you can't buy a house with a mortgage, you really don't know what that means to use this and that as collateral to do that. You're just telling Amazon and the bank that you have absolutely no money to buy anything, and they're going to own you. Now you can't leave the job. If you do, you're like, oh, the stocks might have didn't mature or something. Something in there is going to do something that's going to trigger some kind of payment to the bank, which you're not going to have. And if you don't have it, guess what? The house goes bye-bye. So you're locked in at the job now. They probably got some 5-year stipulation on it or something. Now you're locked into Amazon for 5 years, kissing their ass. They could treat you like shit, garbage. Guess what you got to do? You're going to take it because you don't want to lose your house. You're going to be working off the clock. You're going to deal with 30-minute lunches. 30 minutes? Can you imagine? I can't even imagine having a 30-minute lunch. It takes you a few minutes to even walk to wherever you're going to go to sit down to eat. A 30-minute lunch means you have actually probably 20, maybe 15 if you brought your own lunch. You can't go nowhere and pick up nothing on a 30-minute lunch. Are you crazy? Exactly, Andre. It's nothing personal. It's business. What other jobs is good because you see debt slaves? Let me see as a positive side. Obesity is about to go through the roof. So become, if you like to be a doctor, be a doctor that specializes in overweight, because obesity is about to go through the roof. Teeth. I strongly suggest becoming a dentist specializing in implants, because millions of debt slaves are not taking care of their teeth. And teeth replacement, that costs bread. Debt slaves have no money, so guess what they're going to be doing? They're going to be financing their teeth. Can you imagine the interest rate? Because they can't really repossess that, so that's a high interest rate. Imagine the money that you will be making as a doctor who finances teeth. That's going to be endless money. Endless. That's endless money. That's never going to stop. Teeth or people's teeth, they don't really care. They don't care how it is. If they're destroyed, take care of them. Nothing. They don't care. Pull it, whatever. I see a whole one time I was online, 30,000 to get a person's mouth replaced. You think that slave have $30,000 to put in their mouth? No, they are financing that. That's a good job. What else is a good job? Uh, pharmaceutical industry. That's never going to end. If you get into the pharmaceutical industry, it won't matter what the economy does. That'll be good. Medical insurance. Debt slaves can't afford medical insurance, so they have to have jobs, and they don't. As long as they have insurance, they don't really care about the cost of medical procedures, because especially if their insurance covers it, they're not going to really care about the price of it because they know the insurance is going to cover it, so they don't really care. That's a good industry. Debt slaves don't have no money, so they always have to work. 2,000 per tooth. Oh my goodness. And see, I don't even know what veneers are. Are those covers or whatever? I don't even know. But if you create a business, let me explain something to you, okay? Especially if when you're debt free and you create a successful business, fixing your mouth with any kind of teeth you want will not be a big deal because you are not paying for it. Your customers are paying to fix your teeth. So say like you needed your mouth done and it's so bad it's going to cost $30,000. But if you got a successful business and you're debt free, you're not really going to care because your customers are going to pay for your mouth. Say like this. Say like you give a debt slave. Say like a debt slave has a mouth that's messed up with teeth and that's all jacked up, and it costs $30,000 to get their mouth fixed. If you give a debt slave $30,000 to pay for their mouth to get fixed, they won't pay. They won't get their mouth fixed. They'll be like, "Oh, that's a car. That's the price of a car. You know what kind of car I can get instead of fixing your mouth, so you can chew food? You rather have a car payment." LJ, they already have a loan for dental work. It's called Care Credit, and people sign. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, I already know that. I already know that. I'm just saying, as far as a job, if you're young right now and you're looking to get into dentistry, I strongly suggest specializing in implants. The majority of people don't care about their teeth. That's a fact. They could care less about their teeth. Care less. That's big money. That is such big money. Big money. That is big money. And check it out. Regular insurance don't cover that. It doesn't even cover that. You got to come out your pocket with that. They would go bankrupt if they covered that. But if put it this way, debt slaves. Okay, let me give an example. Okay, debt slave. If you were debt free and say like your job offered a health savings account plan. Okay. Now you when you're debt free, you have the money to maximize that account. Okay. So say like you have say like let's say like it's just by yourself, and say like at this particular year, you can put in $3,500 a year into this health savings account plan. Okay. Now this money goes, not only will it reduce your tax bracket, the money that's put in there, you can use it for out-of-pocket medical expenses only. And they use 100% of that money tax-free. So say like you did this for a few years, right? And now it's time for you to get some work done on your mouth. So you go to the dentist, and you have insurance, right? You go and get this work done that your insurance covers. And then when the work outside of your insurance, you use the card. You use the card to help you pay for your teeth. You can't do what I just said because you're in debt. If you have student loan debt, you can't do that because you have no money to put in a health savings account plan. So you can't do that. But if you was debt free, you could do that. That's almost like the government saying, okay, for you investing in this health savings account plan that we created, here is the benefit for you for doing that with us. That's how it works on the positive side of the economy. You deposit money into this account that's created by them, and the plus side for you doing that is the card that you can use on out-of-pocket medical expenses tax free. I can't stand dental insurance in America. 6 months waiting periods, and then the insurance has a 1,000 per year annual limit for work. After that, things they say they supposed to pay for. It's true. That's true. What's crazy is this. You got to remember too. You guys got to really remember, and you don't really understand this if you've been in debt all your life, and you just don't know. When you come to the positive side of the economy, you got to think about it. Dental insurance is not free. You guys pay a monthly fee for dental insurance, okay? You actually don't have no money to pay for dental insurance. You really don't. You have no money. Now, I'm not saying go without it. I'm just pointing something out. You have no money to even make dental insurance payments. You're probably thinking, well, Jay, what are you saying? I'm just saying something. You don't have any money. So them charging a deductible and all this other, it's all business. It's all business. Once you come to the positive side, you see it all for what it is. You're like, oh, that's why you guys do that. Say like this. Okay, say like you have a medical bill. Let's keep it simple. Say like you have a medical bill that's $1,000. You have a deductible of $100. Okay, out of pocket deductible. Okay, that you must pay $100 out of your pocket, and the insurance covers the rest. Well, if you wasn't in debt, you would have money to put into your health savings account. So say like the bill was 1,000, insurance covered 900, but you had to cover 100. You pull out your health savings account card and pay the $100 with the card because it's a medically related expense. You see the difference? So you're really not paying anything. That's really covered everything. But you can't do that when you're in debt. But when you come to the positive side of it, you're like, oh, that's why because when you're in debt, you don't really understand why they have insurance deductibles. You're like, oh, that shit doesn't make sense. Why do I have to pay off? Why do I still have a deductible even when paying insurance all these years and I still have a deductible. You think that doesn't make sense? It doesn't make sense because you're in debt. When you come to the positive side of it, you're like, oh, that's why. Okay. Because when you have a deductible, and this is just my assumption, okay? This is an assumption. When there's a deductible there, it helps prevent debt slaves from using it. Same thing with car insurance. If everything was covered 100% in car insurance, say like you got car insurance and there was no deductible, and you get in an accident, it's covered 100%, debt slaves will be using that insurance all the time. You guys would not hesitate to use insurance. Oh, fuck it. They're going to cover the whole thing anyway, so I'm going to just crash it or do whatever. You guys would be doing all the time. But when there's a deductible there, and you can't get your car fixed until that deductible is paid first, you guys will stop. You guys will think, you're like, oh, I can't do that. I don't have $1,000. I don't have $500 to fix it if I purposely wreck it. You guys will have some damage, and you guys will live with the damage because you don't have the money for the deductible. That's why you'll see a person. That's why when you see people drive around with the newer cars that are dented, and you could tell that they've been dented for a while because they're rust. There'd be rust on the dent. That means that person didn't have the money for the deductible. That's why it's still wrecked. They probably didn't even tell their insurance company about the damage because they don't want them to know. What's crazy here in South Carolina, different than Washington, I remember here in South Carolina, I was going through a four-way stop sign, and I stopped, and then this older lady went through and hit me, right? It was her fault, right? And so her insurance covered the whole thing because it was her fault. Police came, whatever, wrote up the thing. We talked. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't no hard feeling. It was just whatever, right? But it was her fault, and her insurance company covered the whole thing. South Carolina reaches out to me and says, hey, we need to verify that you really had insurance on that day. Even though I had my insurance card to show to the officer, the state of South Carolina wants to verify, because I guess people be having fake paper and shit like that, right? And the only way you have to have your insurance company reach out to the state of South Carolina to say, yes, he was covered with a car insurance on the day of the accident. And it can only come from the insurance company. I was like, wow, that was pretty. I was like, that's pretty cool, I guess. It's not a big deal if you're following the rules. I didn't really care. Okay, that what you want? Okay, whatever. I have my insurance company call and say and verify. But just imagine how many people are rolling around here with no insurance, and that happens. And then if you don't respond within the set amount of days, they suspend your license, charge you a ridiculous amount of money as a penalty, blah, blah, blah. I thought to myself, that's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. LJ, I've noticed many younger people under the age of 30 having visibly rotten missing teeth. Many were not taught about oral maintenance, and just a few professional cleaning and exams and options. True. That is very true. You know what? I thank God my mom taught me. I mean, that was a requirement. We had to brush and floss our teeth before going to bed. If we didn't, we got in trouble. If I was in bed and my mom said, hey, you brush and floss your teeth? Nope. Okay, get up and do it. I can't just say it too many times else I got my ass whooped, but that was normal. I'm glad my mom taught me that. That was normal. There is no way, like when something gets stuck in my teeth, I can't just let it sit there. I have to get it out immediately. I have to. Toothpick, floss, whatever. Some people just let food just stick in between their teeth and just sit there. I can't do that. So thank God. But you're right though, Wayman. I've been seeing a lot of young people with missing teeth in their 30s. Do you know? Here's another thing. Let me explain something to you. If you're out there dating, right? And you come across a person that takes care of their teeth like me, that means you're a teeth person. So if you go out on a date and this person that you're going on a date with has horrible teeth, The relationship's not going anywhere. I want you guys to understand that. When you take care of your teeth and you go out on a date and you come across a person that it won't matter how they look. That means the inside of their mouth is probably pretty bad if their teeth are looking like that from the outside. Because they're going to expect kissing and French kissing. And if you take care of your mouth, you're not going to French kiss a person that doesn't. That's the first thing I look at is teeth. I can't help it. That's just is what it is. And if they're bad, I'm not going to be looking at a person's teeth and be like, oh my God, their mouth is bad. Their mouth is just bad, I guess. Oh, that's a plus. Debt free. If you have a job and you're debt free, I strongly suggest you start looking into your retirement accounts, your HSA, so you can get a feeling like I want you guys to look at for what it is. When you're debt free, you could save money. It's called phantom income. You can save money on taxes. You cannot save money on taxes when you're in debt. That's impossible. You can't. When you're debt free and you have a job, this is going to give you some practice on how you're going to save money. When you start your own business, HSAs, 401ks, they will give you an idea of what it feels like to save money on taxes because you're going to be doing something that debt slaves cannot. You're going to be able to save money on taxes. Not only are you going to be able to save for retirement, you're going to be able to save money on taxes. Debt slaves can't do that. The reason why they put up like 401k match, 401k match, that's for debt slaves. 401k match is like this. If it's for debt slaves to believe that it's really to get debt slaves to invest into retirement because they don't. So they use something to get slaves to do it. Make a debt slave feel like they're going to get something for free. Hey, if you put 6% in, the job will match. Debt slaves believe they'll get something for free. They're going to do it. They don't know that the purpose of it is just to get them to put in. They're not getting anything. They just believe they are. The true purpose of 401ks, not only is it for retirement, it's to save money on taxes. Debt slaves cannot do it. I remember when I was, and I always like to tell the story, when I was a debt slave, working 6-figure job, right? I remember when I heard the yearly cap on a 401k was back then was like 20,000, right? I said to myself, who in the hell has $20,000 of disposable income to put into a retirement plan a year? People with no debt making 6 figures. People with no debt making 6 figures can fully fund a 401k every single year. Easy. I didn't have anybody to tell me that back then. I didn't know why I couldn't. But the last year of working, I figured it out. I fully funded. For the first time in my whole entire career, I fully funded a 401k in 1 year. And even with that, I was forced. I was forced to do that because this is what happened, okay? This is what made the light go off in my head. I remember I was making high 5 figures. I was just under the 6-figure mark, okay? And I was making a certain amount of money just under the 6-figure, like 98,000 or something, right? And then I got a raise that pushed me over the 6-figure mark. I was so excited to see my next check. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to see my next check. I was like, "Ooh, if I'm making this much a week on my check, imagine how much I'm going to be. Imagine how much my check is going to be now that I make this much." And then the following paycheck period, guess what happened? My next check was less than my previous check before the raise. Did you hear what I said? The next check that was supposed to be higher because I got a raise was less than the previous check. I said to myself, how in the hell is that possible? That's when I learned about tax brackets. That's when I learned about tax brackets. I was like, wait a minute, what? Because before that, I didn't really understand tax brackets. I thought tax brackets were for rich people, so I didn't really pay attention to them. Okay, that's when I said, wait a minute, but how can I change that? All I got to do is put $20,000 into a 401k, and it'll drop me back down in my tax bracket, and so I would get the money that I got before my raise, and I get to put money into retirement, and I get to reduce my tax bracket. Yes, that's exactly what I did. Why? Because I had the money to do it. That's when I started understanding, wait a minute, taxes can be your friend. Yeah, if you're on the positive side of the economy, of course. Taxes are your enemy when you're on the negative side of the economy. Teeth and toes got to be on point. Oh, my woman has, you know what? My woman has hit me to that. She's like, Linnell, you got some beautiful feet. I was like, feet? What's the big deal about feet? Women pay attention to feet. I need a person I will be with no I need the person I will be with to have more than I have. I have 30 teeth in my mouth. You better come with 31. You better have them teeth or have them fixed. Teeth are important to me. I got to get some work done, period. I know I got some work to get done. But I'm paying on this house, but it will be paid off in 12 years. You know I'm about to get out of debt. Sure are. And I believe me, you say 12 years, it'd probably be before that. You have to be at a company for 5 years to even reach the match. Yep, that's how they lock you in. Oh, you got to be here for 5 years fully vested. I remember when I was a debt slave. I was like, damn. In order to see the numbers that you guys are giving me, I have to be here for 5 years. 5 years. And I didn't have nobody to tell me this. This is all you got to do is really think about it. All you got to do is divide up the amount within 5 years, divided by five, divided by 5 years. That's how much you're saying to yourself that you're worth. That's how much they're really telling you that you're worth. That's what it really is. It's not the end result. It's telling you how much they think they're going to give you. But this is all you got to do. If you actually believe that you're worth that and you stay there for 5 years so you can wait for the stock to be vested, that's your problem. But if I saw that, I'd be like, no, thank you. I'm not doing none of that. I'll be making way more than that in 5 years. No, thank you. Give you the money now, and I gotta wait. No. You know how much you know how much interest they're gonna be making off that money in 5 years while you're waiting on this little vested amount? Hell no, no. But that's just business. I don't really care how they do it. It's business. I knew a young lady whose parents didn't keep up with her dental appointments after they divorced. And at age 21, the dentist told her that all of her teeth needed a filling. Please, oh man. To be young and lose your teeth, let me tell you something. I strongly suggest, if this is you and you wasn't taught proper oral hygiene, this is what I strongly suggest you do. Make your teeth a priority. Because if bad mouth, that can hurt you physically, your brain, your body. It's bad. A bad mouth can actually kill you. I've seen that. I've not seen people get killed, but I've seen videos of people, their health has deteriorated because of their mouth. I strongly suggest you make that a priority. What about people who are debt-free but low income? What do you mean, every day? What do you mean, what about people who are debt-free? What does that mean? Tell me what you mean by that. My homegirl raves about that her job. My homegirl raves about that at her job. She loves her 401k match, right? They always do that. Debt slaves don't really understand that they are the They're the 401k match. It's them. It's always a person with a mortgage or car payments that think they're getting a 401k match. They really believe that. They do. They are the 401k match. Debt slaves is you. LJ, I have more money in the bank account than I have in my 401k. Should I focus on investing on some of the money I have? This is what I say like this, QJC. If you've maxed out all your retirement plans and your HSA, now it's time to look for a professional, personal, debt-free investor who is licensed, but they got to be personally debt-free. That's your next thing right there, QJC. Now the next task, you got to find a professional investor who is personally debt-free. That's your next thing. That's what you got to do. Because if you maxed out all the stuff at your job, it's time for the next step. Find a professional investor who is personally debt-free. What business should I go in from the financial services side? What license should I obtain? Well, to me, if I was young and I had this knowledge, I would get into taxes. Honestly, that's what I would do. I would get into taxes. Tax lawyer, some kind of licensed tax professional, something. That would be me. Why? Because I know it's the backbone of the whole thing. And if you understand that capitalism is psychological and you master taxes, you're in. The majority of debt slaves are scared of taxes, know nothing about taxes, nothing, and they don't care to know about taxes. They just think they're bad. And you come in and you become a professional in taxes and you understand that capitalism is psychological, you will be the best in the game. The best. Businesses will be breaking down your door to get to be a client of yours. They will be breaking down your door. My state government job does that with student loans. If you stay for 10 years, oh shit. And pay your student loans on time, they will forgive. Man, that's bananas. If you stay here and be a slave for 10 years, we maybe, and it's not, listen, none of that is guaranteed. 99% of those people got denied. If you stay here for 10 years and be a debt slave, and this is what, and if you're in one of these plans right now, let me tell you what it is. Okay, this is what it really is. If you sign up for a plan like that, you work at a job because they're going to do student loan forgiveness in 10 years. That says more about you than them. Let me tell you what you're telling the job, okay? You don't believe in yourself. If you don't believe, whatever your student loan debt amount is, if you don't believe that you can pay off that amount in 10 years, 10 fucking years of your life, you have a problem. You have a psychological problem. Say it like this right now. This is all you got to do. Get your total amount of student loan debt right now, okay? Divide that amount up by 10 years. This is what you're saying. You break your student loan, divide it up by 10, which will equal 10 years. What you're saying is this: you don't believe in yourself enough that you can make that amount of money per year to pay off the student loan debt. That's what you're saying. You're telling the job that I don't believe in myself enough that I can do it. So they're going to take advantage of you because you're telling them I don't believe I can do it. So I'll work at your place. I will do all your rules. I will take only the raises that you give. I will work where you want me to work and this and that, all because I want you to pay off my student loan debt. That's what you're saying. Basically, I will be a debt slave for you. Income level is unlimited. You work for a place like that, you're putting a cap on you're letting them dictate your income level because you don't believe in yourself for 10 years of your life. Say like you have $100,000 in student loan debt. You don't think you could pay off $100,000 in 10 years of your life? There's the problem. That's what, $10,000 well, a year. No, that's 12. So it's probably less than that. That's the problem. Art says a friend of mine passed away due to bad teeth. He had an infection and it spread to his heart. See? And this is what I've learned at 53. Let me tell you guys something, okay? So you guys can understand this. The body is amazing. If you give it a chance, the body is amazing. Throughout my life, I'm 53, and this is what I've always done. My body has always given me a warning if something is wrong. Things just don't happen out of normal, right? My body gives me a warning. Hey, something is wrong here. Fix it. You're doing something wrong, or this and that. And then when my body gives me a warning, I pay attention to it and I address it. I never let it just go bad. You know what I'm saying? If something, your body always, you wake up, you might not feel right, you're dizzy or something. You can choose to ignore it, and you can choose to address it. I always address I always address my body. It just doesn't happen. I think when a person dies, something bad or pass away, like an infection in your mouth, the infection just doesn't happen and killed. It happens over time. It happens. You cannot just ignore that. Your body is amazing. All you got to do is give it a chance. You have to give it a chance. I hate to hear stuff like that, but it's true. Series 6, 65, 66 are some of the licenses needed to be a financial advisor, and you get them all. If it's your passion, you got to understand this, okay? Millions of people don't know capitalism is psychological. The licenses, Series 6, 63, these are all state stuff. You just got to follow the rules. The state says, the federal government, whatever it says, in order to do this, you must do this. You just follow all the rules. You just got to, okay, get that. It's not really going to matter. It's more for credibility for you. When you're looking for, say like you're in a state and you're looking for a financial advisor, go to your state laws and say, what does it take in this state to become a financial advisor? You look and see what the state requirements, the federal requirements to have, and then you write all this information down. And then when you go to look for a financial advisor, you make sure at a minimum that they meet all the state requirements. Because if they don't, you don't use them. You don't use them. You don't have to know about finances. Your purpose of hiring a financial advisor is because you don't know about finances. So all you got to do is go, hey, say like you live in the state of Washington. In the state of Washington, what are the requirements of the state to become a financial advisor? You just go look up that information, write it all down, go to the financial advisor that you're thinking about hiring. You say, hey, do you have all these requirements that are required by the state? And you make them produce them. If they can't produce them, you leave. I don't care what your excuse is. It expired. I haven't renewed. I don't care what your reason is. Goodbye. Morgan Stanley offers the licenses needed as training for financial officer. I mean, I would, if that's your passion, let me tell you something. When you're going after your passion, like when you see Morgan Stanley say they offer this, they're doing it in for exchange for something, okay? If you go in knowing that what it is, and it's just usually a business move, it's not really, but if it's progressing you to where you need to get to, you use them as they use you. It's just business. As long as they know, when you come in knowing that capitalism is psychological, they will know that you're using them just like they're using you. It's just business. My friend is an immigrant in her 40s, no car, rent, or apartment, no credit cards, no student loan debt, but she still struggles. What advice can I give her so that she wouldn't become a debt slave? First, she has to know the position what it means to be free. Because you have to ignite a passion into you have to, passion only can come from within. Okay. So she has to realize she is free. She has to realize she owns herself. And a lot of immigrants probably don't even know that, but they live this way naturally with no debt. They don't, it's not nothing, but they don't really understand that. They don't understand the position that they're in. They come to America, they see all these people with cars and houses and stuff like that. They got to realize those people that they're seeing, they don't own anything. They own nothing. Those people with the nice houses and cars own nothing. So they have to realize she has to create a business based on debt slaves. That's the next hardest step. You must create your own business to truly be free. That's the only way you're going to be able to own your time. So with that knowledge, she's probably going to take some jobs, start stacking her money. So like that was me. Here I am in my 40s, debt free, but there's a difference when becoming debt free and you're already there. But anyway, I'm debt free. What would I do? I'd probably be all over the 1090 because I would be thinking about stacking my bread, right? The quickest way, I would probably do the 1099 jobs, delivering stuff, anything that I could just spark up, Uber, something that will stack my money. But make sure I'm paying all my taxes properly. Hire a person, especially if I don't, I would hire a debt-free tax person to handle all my taxes because I don't know anything about taxes, right? And stack my bread the whole time I'm stacking my money, thinking about what business am I going to go into? What business am I going to create? Because that's the only way to be free. You must own your own business. You have to own your own business to truly own the time in your life. You have to. A person working at a place like that will be miserable. Correct. They will. They'll be miserable. Not the best job at Morgan Stanley, but you can get the license needed to move forward in your career. Yeah. Anything. Let me tell you what I did. When I first got into computers, where I grew up, a young black man from the projects didn't go to computer industry, wasn't a computer engineer. I chose that profession because that's what I was told. Hey, black people don't do that. That's white people, Indian people. No, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And that's what I did. So along that journey, I did have to give away a lot of my time because I was trying to acquire something. So I worked at a lot of places that built computers, that understand the language, because I had to be in it to understand it. So, but I already had the passion behind it to become one of the best engineers in the field, which I was. That was my passion. I was I was in virtualization. My specialty was VMware, the software VMware. I was specialized in that. Virtual servers, virtual computers, and making it all connect. That was my thing. That was my thing. So I mastered it. And I had to give away a lot of my time to get to where I was, but it paid off in the end. I wasn't just giving away my time to kiss the boss's ass. I had a goal in my brain that I have to do this to get to this step. Like, honestly, what I'd probably be if I was in my 20s and 30s, I'd probably become a tax lawyer and create my own firm full of tax professionals who all understand that capitalism is psychological. I'd be the best. Honestly, I don't really have to even become a tax lawyer. I can still create a firm and own the firm without being a lawyer. And that's my true goal, really. Because I'm 53. I ain't got time to be going to school, nor do I want to go to school that long to become a lawyer. So I will create a firm and hire a bunch of tax lawyers within it, but I own the firm. That's my plan. But all the lawyers inside my tax firm, of course, they will all be properly licensed, educated, but they will also all understand that capitalism is psychological. They will all know, which will make my firm one of the best ones in the United States of America. But these lawyers, I'd probably have to create a contract, because once they understand that capitalism is psychological, you're going to naturally want to create your own. That's just naturally happens. And I wouldn't hate on anybody that worked for me that went off and did that, because I already expect it. Grow with Google. Google offers free certification training for different fields: project management, data analytics. You design, I did notice that back in the day, to me, I always knew a college education was just to get you a interview, right? It just is, hey, I got a bachelor's degree. Okay, that gets you an interview. At least you took the steps to finish school to even talk to them, right? But you still have to come with passion and good work ethics. You still, to stay there. Your education only gets you an interview. You're right. That same thing goes for an accounting firm. I probably would have been an accountant or a tax lawyer, right? Because those fields, and when I say a accountant, I'm talking about business accountant. I would own, and no, excuse me, I wouldn't be an accountant. I take that back. I would own an accounting firm full of licensed professional accountants who all understand that capitalism is psychological. So a tax firm and an accounting firm, all filled with professionals who are personally debt free and understand that capitalism is psychological. They would ask, "Are you a tax lawyer, Liddell?" Nope, but I have some that work for me. Are you a professional accountant, LJ? Nope, but I have some that work for me. What's up, Cosmic? I never understood why people buy points. Why not just use the money to make a bigger down payment and save that way? It's business. They're not. You got to remember, Cosmic, from the positive psychological side of things. Debt slaves don't know. They're not buying anything. They're actually financing more money up front, thinking they're buying down something. There they go, using the word buy. Debt slaves are not buying anything. They're financing everything. What they're actually doing is that they're financing down the interest rate. And just saying it out loud, it makes absolutely no sense. Financing down an interest rate that doesn't exist. You notice how I have to say it slow? I have to say it slow because it absolutely makes no sense. Finance down a future interest rate that's going to, listen, they tell you this, it's going to save you money in the long run. But they don't finish that sentence. But it's not going to save you money today. They're not finishing the sentence. It's going to save you money down the line in the future, but it's not going to save you money today because you have no money today. That's why you're financing it. Would you say, now I know LJ understands the system. It's beautiful, Andre. It's beautiful. See what I'm saying? Duh. Capitalism is worldwide. I apologize. Let me say international tax laws and international business accounting. Know why? Because it's all the same debt slave. They just use different paper in every country. You go to Australia, Australia says, hey, we use this paper here. You go to the US says, hey, we use green pieces of paper here. You go to Canada, we use multicolored different pieces of paper. That we go to the UK, hey, we do the same thing as Canada, but the Queen's on this, whatever. I don't care. Okay, this country says we do this. All right, whatever. NC Biggs, long time no see. Any questions? Is this you? Are you new to the channel and you're listening to me and you're like, what is he talking about? Or maybe it's you want to understand more. This is your chance. This is your chance right now. You guys, okay, listen, if you're new to the channel, okay? Now, you guys don't even know who you're talking to right now. You guys have no idea who you're talking to. And I'm not saying that to be bragging. I'm just telling you what is. This is the reason why I talk like this. I know for a fact there is nobody like me on the internet. Well, you won't find them. Let's put it this way. You won't find them or her. That's why I talk the way I talk. Because I know for a fact, good luck on finding a channel like this. You won't. You won't. That's how I know. That's why I talk the way I talk. Like right now, I'd be talking to the future. I'd make a video right now so I can come back later and look at myself. SMD is going to be worldwide. I'm telling you guys that today. I already know. The world just doesn't know. And don't look at it like when I go out in the streets and paparazzi are going to be taking pictures of me. Nobody's going to know I exist except on the internet. When I walk around on the streets, you think debt slaves are going to be able to see me? No, they have no idea a person like me exists. Nor do they, listen, if they don't even know our system is capitalist, you think they're going to see me? The answer is no. I like it like that. It's not going to be that kind of popularity. That makes the value of me even more. That makes the value of SMD even more. That makes the value of SMD counselors, which will happen, consultants, counselors, whatever, value more. This is bigger than me, way bigger than me. You guys, I always reiterate this. You guys have no idea how much SMD consultants are going to be making. You guys have no clue. Guess how much they're going to be making? Whatever they want. Whatever they decide to charge you, they're going to make whatever they want. Why? Because they know capitalism is psychological. Where else are you going to get this knowledge? Nowhere. There's no school that you will see. I believe, do these schools exist? Of course they do, but you won't find it. It's probably in somebody's regular house, 2 or 3 people in there learning something, whatever. You guys will never know. You don't need a big campus. A big old campus is not needed because not that many people need to know. LJ, do you invest in your HSA funds into any stocks or mutual funds? I know that as long as the money's used only for medical expenses, the capital gains will. Well, no, I don't have a regular job, so I don't have no HSA and all that stuff. So I don't really have all that. So the only thing I'm investing in right now is myself. So I don't really invest in stocks and bonds and stuff like that. I'm just investing in myself right now. So all my money goes into SMD and another business that I have. So I feel like that. I feel like I feel like Morpheus. I do. See, I bet I'm right, Andre. I bet they probably in those houses that What did you describe to me the last time? You said an orangery, orangery. You said, have you ever heard of an orangery or something like that? And I know I'm saying it wrong, but you probably saw that orangery inside that house that they teach these schools. You better believe it. That might be on the list too. I might start a school myself and teach psychological capitalism because it all benefits the economy. I knew that's what it was, Andre. That's where you saw it. What is that? If you ask her what that is, you don't know. Never know. I might start a school like that. Or, hell, maybe one of the SMD family members might start their own school. You see what I'm saying? You don't need a big place, just a modest little house, couple chairs. You're not going to have that because the people that are going to pay to have their children come to your school and understand how psychological capitalism works, they're already going to know the value of what their money is paying for. They're already going to know. They're probably going to be already business owners. They know the money that they're going to pay you to teach their children comes from the business. They're going to be able to write it off in taxes. It's all paid for. So the amount of money that the SMD consultant will be charging will be irrelevant because they know what they're going to get for it. It doesn't matter. Trump was one of those schools at a young age, like I bet, when I look at President Trump, of course he was. I could tell by his mannerisms. Like when you guys look at President Trump, he always has this look on his face like confidence, I'm better than you. It's just a look of, I really don't care what you think. Now, you guys got to understand, that is not an act. It just is. Okay, for example, with me, I don't care how debt slaves feel about me. I don't care what debt slaves think of me. I don't care how I think I look, how I dress, what I sound like. If they're making payments, I don't care. When I go on tour, I'm probably going to have that same look on my face, but it's not an act. I just don't really care about the opinions of debt slaves. They're debt slaves. If you come to this channel and you don't like me and you're making car payments, I don't really care what you think. I don't care how you feel about my channel. If you're making payments on your phone, if your phone is branded with a carrier's name on it, like Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, that means your phone is probably financed. Because like me, I own myself. I buy my phones in cash. My phone is not branded with any carrier's name because I buy them factory unlocked. Those are signs. Debt slaves don't know that. They don't know why their phone is branded. Hey, this debt slave, their phone tells other slave masters, other companies that this slave is mine. You see the phone, Verizon on it? It said Verizon is telling other carriers that this debt slave belongs to me. You're too late. I already got it. I already got them. I got their whole family. You can't have them. Period. I own this debt slave. Lots of people already have these schools. I even went to a Saturday school. My parents sent me to learn things you didn't get at regular. Oh, no, I believe it exists. Don't get me wrong. I discovered capitalism is psychological. That means it was already here. So I really already know that these schools exist. I'm just saying I don't know where they're at. Hopefully one day I'll be able to visit them once they hear me. I think once the people that that understand that capitalism is psychological, they have schools and the children and the parents. I will one day end up meeting those people. I'm sure I'll know where those schools are at. Go and visit them. I'm sure I will learn a wealth of knowledge that I didn't know before because I have the base. I have the base knowledge. All right, cabin getaways, country clubs, all that. Usually at the office, at the family office meetings. Which say, looking forward. Oh man, you know what? I really want to do a TED talk. I applied a couple times, but I don't really know how it works. Let's just say I haven't been putting too much energy into it. Okay, let's just say I'm not gonna blame them, but that would be awesome if I could do a TED talk. That would be really amazing. You said most often from family member to family. I see it passing that way, family member to family member. Like for example, I have my as far as family goes, with understanding that capitalism is psychological. I have my younger brother. He's almost free. He just got to pay off his student loan debt, and then he's at zero. He finally gets to zero. My youngest son, he's debt free, but he just has student loan debt, so he has to focus in on that. But my younger brother is the only family member that is the closest to understanding psychological capitalism by freeing itself. He's about to drop the final payment in the next couple of weeks, and he's done, and he's get to zero. And I told him, I'm going to be the only one that's going to congratulate you because nobody else really cares if you pay off your student loan debt. I'm excited for him. I said, little bro, I said, your life is going to change. You don't know yet, okay? Because when you're getting to zero and somebody's telling you what's going to happen when you get to zero, you don't really know what that means because you've never been to zero. You've been imagining it, but you don't know what it's like to get there. You can mentally get there, but you don't know. But once you get there, everything changes. Welcome. Once you what it is, this is what it is. When you get to zero, zero is the door to the positive side of the economy, just like on the number chart that we all learned in grade school. The number chart with zero in the middle, green numbers on the right mean positive numbers, red numbers on the left means negative numbers. When you get to zero, that's the door that exits the negative side of the economy and enters the positive side of the economy. Now you're on the positive side of it. That's the door. Millions of people will never even reach the door. That's what SMD does. This is what SMD. SMD is here to help you reach the door to the positive side of the economy. Once you get on the positive side of the economy, there's a second part called, I renamed it to the sixth sense. SIXTH, C as in cat, ENTS. Sixth sense. This is a whole different world on this. You've never been here. The language is different. You're going to meet new people talking different. You're going to meet people that would have never talked to you while you're on the negative side. Andre and I always talk about this. If I was on the negative side of the economy, I would never have met a person like Andre, Cosmic, nobody. Why? Because there's no reason for them to talk to me. I was a debt slave. When you come to the positive side, guess what? You have people that want to help you. Help you become the best that you can ever be. You know why? Because it benefits the person helping you. It helps me help you. It helps me help you. If you become a multimillionaire, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to hate. I'm going to congratulate. Are you going to get more? You're going to make it to a billion? Congratulations. I'm not going to say, hey, can I have some? I'm going to say congratulations. Trump at the age of 3 started getting $200 a year until 18. Oops, I spoke too much. That's how the family does. That's no hate here. Hey, whatever. $200,000 a year, that means his family already knew that capitalism is psychological, of course. That's how it works. Once you understand, put it this way, once you understand it, you start getting insurance, right? You start getting insurance, and then they know as you raise your children, the raise insurance, they know what to do when they receive that insurance money when you pass. They're going to instantly get some millions of dollars, but they already know that capitalism is psychological, so they're going to repeat the same process naturally. This is how it's naturally going to be, for sure. Oh yeah, that's huge. Huge. What's up, Miss B, Miss AB on Bayer says, once debt free, is it better to invest in stocks and HSA or save money to invest into a business? This is what I strongly suggest people do, and this is what I did, okay? When you become debt free with a job, at that moment is the only time you can actually save money on taxes, because people in debt cannot save money on taxes. They cannot invest in anything, nothing, right? I strongly suggest is understanding how taxes, how you can save on taxes by investing in your 401k and your HSA. This is what I did, because I didn't really understand. Put it this way. This is what I didn't understand, okay? I didn't understand saving money on taxes, okay? I really didn't get that. I kind of heard it when I was a debt slave, but I didn't really understand what that meant. Until I became debt-free, then and only then, you definitely, we got to come back to that. That's for sure, right there. That's for sure. I forgot about that. But during that time, right? Just like Andre says, be debt-free for a year so you can feel what it is. But as you're working, if you have a job and you have a 401k, you're going to be investing in your 401k for retirement, for reasons, whatever, right? But you got to remember the true purpose. You will be able to reduce your tax bracket by investing in your retirement plans. That is something that debt slaves cannot do. They cannot reduce their tax bracket because they're in debt. They have no money to put into a 401k plan to reduce their tax bracket, so they can't do it. So if you've become debt free and this is the first time you've done, start doing that so you kind of can feel what it's like to save money on taxes. Realize that you're doing something that people in debt cannot do. Debt slaves cannot reduce their tax bracket. They can't. So when you see debt slaves deep in debt, working a whole bunch of overtime, and they think they're going to be making all this money, they're really not, because each dollar they make pushes them up higher in the tax bracket, which means they're actually making less money. But they don't know that. I strongly suggest this. Once you become debt free, relax for a year. Stack your money. But I want you to soak in that you don't have monthly payments no more. You got to really realize once you're debt free, you don't have monthly payments no more. Let that soak in. Okay. Notice how fast your money stacks up in your bank account with no debt. Let that soak in. Just like wow, every check is just, you're gonna watch your money stack so fast, right? Notice how, like when you're debt free and you're investing in your 401k, it's like double dipping, right? You fully fund your 401k for $20,000, right? That money's in retirement, growing interest or whatever it's invested into, right? You get to take that same, the same 20,000 and drop yourself in your tax bracket. That's like double dipping. The same year. Every single year. If you and this is what you got to really understand too. If you fully fund your 401k at your job, guess what your employer is going to notice that you're doing it. Why? Because you're going to be doing something that probably no other employee is doing, fully funding or maybe a few. You probably one of five. Say like Amazon. Let's go with the biggest. Say like, you see how many people Amazon employs? Okay. I believe, what you think, Andre? 1% of their employees is fully funding a 401k every single year. What you think, Andre? 1%, 0.5% fully funding a 401k every single year. You will be part of that group. Amazon, the company, will notice that you're doing it. LJ, when I was a kid, my mom used to take me to church every Sunday, and I used to question, why are they asking for money, and what they do with it and money we give them. I question stuff. I used to always question like that when I was a kid. You know, my mom said, "Shut up, boy. Don't you question God and this and that." I was like, that's weird. We're supposed to give you 10% of our money? Now remember, debt slaves, they don't know that they have no money. They don't have 10% of anything to give to anywhere. Imagine being a debt slave that wakes up to that has been giving 10% of their money away, and they realize they didn't have no money to give away in the first place. Can you imagine that shock? And when it comes to religion, I'm not even getting into that with debt slaves. I don't even talk about no religion. No, I'm not getting into none of that. Oh, you mean, LJ, we're not supposed to give 10% to God? I mean, like, next question, please. The IRS tells you exactly how, not even beat the system, Andre, how to play. The IRS tells you how to play. The IRS rewards you for playing right. Do you understand? They reward you for playing. It's like, hey, if you invest into the 401k of $20,000, we will take $20,000 off of your annual income, which will reduce you in your tax bracket. Does that sound fair? That sounds fair to me. Plus, you get to put that money to your retirement, earning interest or whatever it's invested in. That's like every single year. That's double dipping. That's a thank you from the IRS. Thank you for doing that. Same thing with the HSA. Oh, damn, Andre, 0.1%? I wish Amazon would tell us. I wish they would tell us. Hey, Amazon. Hey, any Amazon executives out there that know this? How many people fully, out of your whole company, how many people fully fund a 401k at your business? 0.1%? Thanks to this channel, I'll never be in debt. You've drilled my brain with wisdom. Appreciate it. You are welcome. Much success. I want all S&D family members to become multi-millionaires. Each million you'll be making, I won't be hating. I'll be happy for you. Congratulations. 10% is for Christians. If you're not a Christian or don't believe in God, why cry about him? What? I don't really get. What are you saying, trade stocks? I don't really get what you're saying. Did God? Huh. Oh, okay. So see, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly that's my point. That's why I don't talk about religion, because what we're talking about is nothing about religion. You right? You see what I'm saying? Got nothing to do with God. Why this and it has nothing to do with. See, that's why this is what we call. That's why you don't take your mask off in public. You don't do that because you'll get into things like that, and that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to do that. 1.1%. It's crazy, man. I've been forwarding your channel to Death Slave. They've helped many. Great. People, tell me Anonymous, tell me what has happened when you forward that information to Death Slaves. Do you not hear back? Do they actually use it, or do they actually, Jesus says, hey, SMD, I'm going to hire a debt-free crypto tax attorney to handle my gains. Okay. Does he understand, he or she understand that capitalism is psychological? Do they understand that? I mean, they got to really, and when I say debt-free, they really got to understand what it means to be a debt-free tax attorney. Does that person really understand what that means? Any other questions? Control V. Is this you? Are you like me right now? You're walking around the debt matrix. You know something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on it. You just can't. You're like, how come I'm not ahead? How come I'm not? You think you're at a certain age. You're supposed to be at a certain financial point in your life. You got to look around and say, who is telling you that? Who is telling you that you should be somewhere financially by 30, by 35? You should have this and that. Who is telling you that? 9 times out of 10, it's a debt slave. If somebody's telling you that you should own, say like this, there's somebody out there telling you that you're throwing away money on rent. You turn to them and say, do you have a mortgage? If they tell you yes, that's why they're saying that. They want you to be like them. They think, you got to remember, a person that tells you, if you're renting, if a person with a mortgage is telling you that you're throwing away money on rent, that person believes that they own the house with a mortgage. That means they don't know. They don't understand that mortgage payments are rent to the bank. Homeowners don't have payments. That's why they're homeowners. You see how simple that is? When you come to the positive side of the economy, everything becomes simple and obvious. Homeowners don't have payments. That's why they're homeowners. The only way to buy a house is in cash. There is no other way to buy a house. It only takes 1 day to buy a house, not 30 years. It only takes 1 day. It doesn't take 84 months to buy one car. It takes 1 day to buy one car. He said, I don't hear back much when I send them the link or to your channel, unfortunately. Debt slaves seem invisible to being free, but I try. So far, 3 of the 12 people I forwarded replied. And I want you to understand something, Anonymous. That's how it's going to be. And for your sake, for your own sanity's sake, wait until before you forward them SMD stuff or whatever, right? Make sure, and you could tell, are they ready for this information? They will, when they ask the right question. You'll know when they're asking the right questions. You'll know. And then that's when you forward the information, because you don't want to forward the information to somebody that you know is not going to use it. That's a waste of your time. I don't care if it took you 30 seconds to send a link to. That's 30 seconds of your life that you wasted, that you know somebody's not going to use it. So it's more for you. My parents want me to take over. A mortgage price was $330,000. Yeah, I would have to run the numbers. What's the house worth? Where's the mortgage at? What's the current interest rate? Is it a subprime mortgage? There's so many factors. How many times has it been refinanced? There's a lot of factors. Today, who I am today, if my parents came to me and said, hey, we want you to take this over, I'd be like, all right, let's sit down with the bank. I need to run some numbers. Because you got to think about it. If the house is worth $1 million and the only thing left on it is $330,000, I'd probably jump in. Right? If it's only worth, and it's only got a $330,000 mortgage on it, I'd probably jump in. But if the house is, you know, it's a 300,000 and the house is worth 250, and you know how many times, it's a lot of factors that goes into that. I'm less than half a year into debt-free living, but my income is low, so I'll need to figure out, you know, and this is one I always tell the people on the S&D side, okay? So you guys, the program is strong, okay? When you become debt-free, you immediately start thinking, I got to do something. I got to have something, you know, and I'm not saying this just to you, Lehman. I'm telling you what I experienced, okay? I don't want you guys to think that I quit my job and I was just kicking back carefree, didn't think about anything. That is not true. I was still part of the program. I was worried about my resume having a gap. I wasn't keeping up on my IT skills, more and more time. All of that stuff I had to withdraw from. Oh man, if I stop working for 6 months, then I go on an interview, the first question they're going to ask is, where did you work before? How come you haven't worked for 6 months? And you worry about all this stuff. That's all residual from the debt matrix. You got to release all that. It took me a year to not worry about not working so long, having a gap on my resume, not keeping up with the latest technology in the field I had to let that shit go. And it took me a year to release it. That's why I strongly suggest, when you're becoming debt-free, this is the process I strongly suggest, if you can, but it takes big balls to do it. Become debt-free, okay? While you have a job, this is why you're working. Become debt-free, work another year, debt-free, stack your money the entire year. Stack it. By the year goes by, when it's time to quit your job, because the reason, and I'm not saying that, hey, you got to quit because you're debt free. No, I'm telling you, you're going to quit on your own, because you're going to be tired of being around debt slaves at work, because the majority of people at work, at jobs, are there because they have to be there. They have to. You will be there because you choosing to be there. When you're debt free, you choose to be at a job because you're choosing it. You don't have to be there, so you'll quit. Your money will be stacked up so much, your expenses will be so low because you will have no debt. You'll be able to relax and see what it feels like to own the time in your life for an entire year. Nobody telling you what to do. You don't have to be anywhere. You could be where you want to be. When you wake up, you can do what you want to do, and then you'll get used to what life is really supposed to feel like when you own the time in your life. You got to go through that. You got to go through, I call it a detoxing process, LJ. That's why I don't talk about religion, not even to my family. It's worse than talking about money. Yeah, don't talk about religion. I always tell debt slaves, do not get on the subject of religion with debt slaves. Do not. That conversation will never end, ever. Get used to that. Most people don't want to get free. They don't want to. You're welcome, Jesus. Got to stick to S&D program, or else you'll fall back into debt slave. Now, that'll be very difficult to fall back, because once you're free, going back is really not an option, because once you know, there is no unknowing. Once you know capitalism is psychological, you know that there is no going back. You can't go back to being a debt slave just like that. You can't. Just like you were late at believing in debt-free lifestyle, don't be late at believing the truth. All I'm saying. I trade stocks, I don't know what you're talking about. Mathematical truth? We only talk about here, we talk about the mathematical truth. Okay? That's what we talk about here, the mathematical truth. That's it. Now, if you're here to talk about religion, you're on the wrong channel. We don't talk about that here. Okay. And by your responses is why we don't, because we don't want you to mix up religion with mathematics. Okay. We don't want you to do that. I think 3 years is better, but most won't be able to stand it. Yeah. To me, now you got to remember, Andre, I went longer than a year. Okay. It's more for sure. Right. I mean, longer than a year. Of course, I never went back. I quit my job in 2016 and never been back. So I'm very comfortable where I'm at now. Very comfortable. Thinking like the thought, put it this way, the thought of a 40-hour work week that I have to be something like 40 hours of my life are owned. I just can't imagine that no more. I just can't. But a full year, that's really good. That's really good. I'm not a debt slave. That's not relevant to God. See, that's what I'm saying. And that's a great point. I'm glad you said that. What you're talking about is not relevant to here. That's not relevant. So you could just stop talking about it. It's not relevant. Yeah, if you go back, you were never really free. That's a good point. You're right. You're right. No better feeling than becoming debt free. No stress alone make you feel young and alive for sure. For sure. Okay, listen, trade stocks. Listen, okay. Stop talking about God. Okay, I want you. You're here in the room. If you want to stay in here, I don't mind letting you stay here. But I'm telling you, we don't talk about God here. Okay, that's not the point. So just let it go. All right, let it go. We talk about mathematics. Mathematics are facts. You cannot have an opinion on a mathematical equation or a mathematical answer. You cannot have an opinion. That's why we talk about mathematics here. Okay. What's up, Donovan? What's going on? Well, you got to remember, Gabriel, I quit my job in 2016. It seems like a lot of years, but it's not. Will you ever reveal your side of business in the future? Maybe. I will. I got to talk to my woman about it. It's not just mine. It's me and my woman's business. But I will, probably in the future. I don't want people, this is the reason why I don't. There's a reason, okay? Because I just like my privacy, number one. Number two, I don't want people thinking, oh, LJ, you were able to do this because you had that. If people don't know about that, they can't use that. Because my other business, I had to earn that shit. That wasn't free. Nothing was free. I had to earn it. I don't want people saying, oh, the reason why you have this and you're doing that, you can have no job because of that business. No, well, that's true. Yeah. But I had to create it. Now this job, my other business is allowed me the time and the privilege to craft SMD. SMD is my bigger business goal because SMD is worldwide. That's going to be worldwide. What's up, Alonzo? Anonymous said, I had to block trades for money. The negative energy makes me lose brains. Exactly. That's what happens when a negative energy comes in. That's why I try to be nice about it. I'm like, okay, hey, listen, that's not what we're here for. Try to be nice about it. I just don't really just kick them out. Just, okay, listen, man, you're wrong. There was a mistake. That's not here. We talk about mathematical facts here. And just be cool. The borrower is slave to the lender. It's not religion. It's math. It's math. For sure, it's math. You can't. You just cannot. You cannot do that. And I strongly suggest SMD family members, not only don't take your mask off in public, you can choose to, but definitely don't touch that. Do not touch that. That's why when I go over and talk about Dave Ramsey and I talk about, putting away money in retirement while having a mortgage, he does the God religion thing. You think I touch that? I don't touch that. No, that's none of my business. Hey, you put 10%. Okay, whatever. Whatever you believe. I just don't touch it. That's something you don't touch. Because remember, debt slaves have no money for nothing. Just remember that. They have no money for nothing. I absolutely love what I do. Love it. You might be thinking, LJ, well, you ain't really making no real. This is what I consider real money. So, like, you think, well, LJ, how much you making off of SMD? If it's not, listen, this is how I look at it. SMD is not making the amount of money that I did working. So if it's not making more than the money that I was making having a job, I don't really count it. Personally, okay? I still count it on taxes and stuff. I'm just talking about personally. I don't look at it as, oh yeah, I'm making. No, if it's not making more money than I had as a job, then I'm not there yet. Okay, you got to go ahead and block him out. Go ahead and kick him out. He's getting ridiculous. So people, go ahead and remove Mr. Trade Stocks for Money. You see how they cannot help themselves. They have to do something. You notice that even when you're nice, you're like, hey, we don't talk about religion here. We don't really get into that. You're just on the wrong channel. Just go find it. Go. They can't leave. I've had to do that on people on my personal Facebook. Sometimes on my personal Facebook, I'll throw out some debt stuff or a quote. I'll have debt slaves jumping. Oh, that's not true. Yes, you can own a house with a mortgage, and they're on my page. I don't mind debating them and doing stuff like that. But when they start getting personal, that's when I got to remove them. You're on my page. I'm not on your page disagreeing with you. Like, there are people all the time on social media talking about financial stuff. I don't go over there and say, hey, you're wrong. You're a punk. That's not true. And this and that. I just go, you're blocked. Goodbye. Exactly. This is why you don't. Shout out to Nick for the $9.99 super chat. This is why you block debt slaves. Hey, Nick, not only on social media, you block them mentally. You don't even listen to them. You notice how he couldn't let it go. Even when you said, we're not they got, hey man, just, okay, don't do that. They just, oh, you fuck you, mother bitch. It's like, okay, goodbye. See you later. Oh man, this is funny. Can you imagine the people that pop in on the live? They're probably how they're talking about me in the background. But you notice when I put the link up there, they never click on it. You notice that? Because I'm not wrong. It's the energy. And this is the SMD family members. I want you to know the reason why they don't, because of my energy. Because of the sound of my voice. They know, this dude knows something that people don't know. He knows. I can tell by the way he sounds. Real quick, Anonymous. Real quick. Get all kind of emotional. Oh, that's not true. Why are you so emotional? I'm just talking about math. Why are you so emotional? Because that's how debt slaves are. They're upset because you're disrupting their program. They've been taught about credit score. The only way to buy a house is a mortgage. And then here's a person coming along and saying, none of that is true. Can you imagine the shock to a debt slave if you walk up to him and say, hey, you know that house you've been paying off for the last 15 years? Yeah, you don't own nothing. You don't have no equity in it, nothing. How many debt slaves you think are going to believe you? None. The biggest pushback I notice you get seems to be regarding mortgages, more so than student loan debt, car loans, and credit. It's you know, and I know, Illumina, that it's all the same. Think about it from a debt slave's perspective. And let's go deep into the psychological part of it all, which they don't know what it is. They know deep down in their minds, they know they will never, ever have $350,000, $400,000 in cash to put down on the house. Never. They know that. So if you come along and tell them that a mortgage doesn't buy a house, what do you think that does to their world? You mean I can never buy a house unless I have the money to buy it? Nope. What do you think that does to their world? It shatters it. Shatters it. They're not going to accept that. SMD, I got my gains in crypto from Desley. Congratulations. Congratulations. When you understand capitalism is psychological, you'll know exactly how to invest in cryptocurrency. You'll know exactly how to do it. It's debt slaves. It's you guys, debt slaves. It's you. Mortgages aren't the problem. A negative balance sheet is. Yep. That's exactly right. When you come to the positive side of the economy, mortgages are not the problem. That's not. Especially when you're the bank. They just can't accept the truth that they have no money. That's a hard truth to accept. If you're new to the channel and you've never heard anything ever the what I'm talking about, and it's a shock to your system, and you're like, oh my God. And you get it. Say like you're new to the channel and you actually start to get it. The first thing you're going to want to do is share it with your friends. The first thing you want to do is share it with your family. Hey, check this out, man. Have you ever heard this? And then they're not going to agree with you. And you're going to find that weird. You're going to be like, hey, all they're doing is saying math. And how come you don't agree? Because that's part of the program. They don't know. Listen, they don't know that all you got to do is believe the calculator and you'll be free. They don't know that. They have no idea that they own nothing. Now think about it this way. I'm gonna bring you to the positive side of the economy. I'm gonna bring you to the positive side without owning yourself and without being debt free. I'm gonna give you the vision of what you can see when you're on the positive side. Any neighborhood you drive through, nice, good, or bad, if they have a mortgage, all of the houses are bank owned. Any neighborhood you drive through, ask it, you have a mortgage? Yes. You have a mortgage? Yes. Those are all bank owned houses. That means when you're debt free on the positive side, that means everything is for sale. Everything. Values of anything that's irrelevant because they're bank owned. The value of anything only matters when you sell from owning it. I remember seeing Fresh and Fit comment saying, when is SMD going to buy his house? I know, right? Oh, he's 50. He's going to die. Dust slaves love to talk about me. They love to say, oh, he's just old. That's old school thinking. He's just mad because he's still renting. They don't know anything. How to make a debt slave upset? Don't tell him anything. Don't tell him about your money. Don't tell him if you own. Don't tell him anything. If you own, tell him you own businesses, but don't tell him what it is. You don't have to tell him. Don't tell him nothing. Leave their minds wondering. Because in order, you got to remember, think like a debt slave. In order to take a year off of work, a debt slave believe you have to be rich to do that. To not work for a whole entire year and still be able to pay your rent and your light bill and stuff like that. You have to be rich. No, you don't. You just have to be debt free. You have to be rich. They don't know that. So imagine what a debt slave thinks when I tell them that I quit my job in 2016 and we're in 2023. How did you do that? How you do that, LJ? Debt free in a business. SMD business? No, not SMD business. No. If I had to rely, listen, but I know what I'm doing. I know SMD was going to take a minute. I already knew that. If I had to rely on SMD business only, I would have had to go get a job. People are not breaking down my door to become debt free in the middle of a bad economy. People that are struggling to make their payments, they're not worried about being debt free. They're struggling trying to get food. Right now, I understand that in a bad economy, becoming debt free is not appealing. I get it. I totally understand it. Accept it. Whatever. Monica says, I hardly have money, but debt free and loving it. And you got to remember, Omanike, what's hardly have money? You got to remember, if you have $5 in your account, Omanike, and you have debt and you're debt free, you're financially ahead of millions of people. And if you have $5 in your account, you're financially ahead of millions of people. I saw a commenter in Fresh's chat say that anything is better than renting, even in FH. I saw that too. They be typing that shit out loud. Hey, Andre, in public for everybody to see. Oh, I'd rather have an FHA mortgage is better than renting. Goodbye. See you later. I'm not talking to you no more. When you're SMB and you become free and you become across a debt slave that says like that, you have a choice. If you come across a debt slave that says, I'd rather have an FHA mortgage than rent, you have a choice at that moment. You continue the conversation or you leave. If you continue that conversation and you get upset, you end up getting in a fight, or not a physical fight, but an argument or disagreement, that's on you. Because the debt slave told you from the very beginning of the conversation, I'd rather get an FHA mortgage than rent. You leave the conversation immediately, right there. Anything after that is your problem. The program is strong, and it must be that way. It has to be that way. Has to be. Easiest way to notice a debt slave is when they get emotional quick when it comes to money talk. Yep. As soon as they get emotional, you got to just shut it down. Shut it down. My friends still think I'm done for paying off my student loans. I just don't discuss finances with them anymore. That's how it works. And I wish you good luck with your friends, Nick, because I tried that with one of my friends. Now you're younger, it's different generation, but I tried that with my friend. Hey, we'll still be cool. We just don't talk about money and finances. But it always happens. I don't care. You with your friends, money will come up in some form or fashion. And if your friends already know where you stand, they're already going to talk to you different. They're going to say things. They're going to talk about things as if you're not in the room, because they really don't want your input. They don't really understand that you don't even want to input. I walk out the room. Me and my one friend, we couldn't be friends no more because it kept coming up. And it's hard to do because some friends, you got to remember, when you got close friends, you love your friends. And when you see them doing fucked up financial shit, it hurts you. It bothers you. You can't even help it. When a good friend of mine went out and financed a boat, it was really hard for me to even say, hey, man, nice boat. I just want to say, what the fuck are you doing? I just want to go, haven't you been listening to anything? Haven't you been watching what I'm doing? Listen, I just wanted to say that to him. We just had to stop being friends. I couldn't do it anymore. What he did was what he doesn't know, I know he did, right? I kept getting on him about paying off his student loans. He would get a car. He got a classic car. He did all this other stuff. I said, man, you pay off your student loan debt? Nah, man, nah. What he did was refinance his house. Okay. And then he paid off his student loans. Now, is that a bad move? No, that's not a bad move. But When he did that, he thought now since that payment was no longer, now he had extra money to finance a boat. So he refinanced the house, paid off the student loan with the money. That's what he told me. I don't know if that's true because I didn't see it. And then he obviously took some of that money and put it down on a boat. I said, he didn't hear anything I said. Nothing. Nope. But what you guys don't know is this. This is what you don't know. Okay. Say like you have a house right now with a mortgage. Okay. And you refinanced your house and paid off your student loan debt. Okay. Paid it off. All right. And then all of a sudden, the factory that you worked for closed down. You lose your job. Guess what happens? You lose your house. Guess what else you lose? Your student loan debt. It's gone. How many debt slaves you think would ever do that? Refinance their house and pay off their student loan debt? None, zero, none, nothing. You wasn't planning on losing your job. The factory just happened to close down out of nowhere. We're closing down. You lose your job. Now you can't pay your mortgage. You lose the house. And guess what? The house is gone and so is the student loan debt. Gone. What you going to do? File for bankruptcy, Chapter 7. You go get it. Funny, LJ, when I am with an alien, money doesn't even come up. That's true. Why even bother talking about it? You're probably thinking, why doesn't money come up? Because we know it's you, debt slaves. You're the money. It's not the paper, it's you. You guys really don't understand right now. Paper money is in the way. You guys are hiding it, doing illegal transactions behind the scenes, hiding some so you don't have to pay taxes on it. It's just in the way. Soon as they get rid of that paper, ooh wee, you guys don't even know the control that they're going to have over the money once they get rid of paper money. You guys don't even get it. You know how many listen, do you know how many tax problems are going to be resolved when they get rid of paper money? Do you know how many tax problems are going to be resolved? Because everything is going to be electronic. And all they're going to have to do, because you got to remember, they have the right to get into anything. One day you're going to be making some kind of electronic transaction. Guess what? It's not going to make it to its destination. It's going to get taken. No different than when you get a tax refund. You know how when you get a tax refund and you owe money, the IRS will take it. It'll be the same way. It'll be all the same way. You're going to do a transaction, and guess what? It's going to disappear. Poof. And then you're going to get a text. Hey, this is the IRS. We took it. And they're going to probably tell you, any electronic transaction you try to do with your name on it, we're going to take it. You guys have no idea what's coming. Now, you don't have to be on that side of it. You can be on the positive side of it. You know that? You don't have to worry about money being taken from you from the IRS. Worry about nothing, because you're going to be following the rules. They're not going to bother you if you're following the laws. You understand? They're not going to bother you. They're not going to, you create a business, right? And you're following all the tax laws. Why would the IRS audit you if you're following all the tax laws ahead of time? Listen, by following the rules, you're saving them money. They don't have to have agents be sent to your house, waste time and energy with letters and threats and this and that, because you're following the laws. Now they can put more resources on people that are not following the laws. You guys don't really understand. Your credit report, Your banking statements, those are patterns, you guys. There's a pattern that you create when you're positive, you're debt free, and your bank account looks a certain way. You do transactions a certain way. It's a pattern. You file your taxes a certain way. Your credit report looks a certain way. It's a pattern. Easiest way to get rid of close friend and family members you hate who's a debt slave is to give them money. They will never call you back or pay off the money and you lent them. Negative. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. If you want a debt slave to stop bothering you about money, loan them money and never ask for it, because they won't come to ask for you no more money no more. They won't, because they know they owe you. It'll cost you, and say it like this, $50 is cheap to get rid of a debt slave. That's cheap. Here, but don't give it to them. You say, this is a person that you want to get rid of. Say, okay, you owe me this money, and then leave it to them. And then they'll never bother you again. My friend has a kid and a wife, is a trainer, coach, own business, some missing delayed payments from clients, struggling to pay rent, has Netflix, PlayStation subscriptions, 2 cats. Yeah, all that. Do you guys know debt slaves own businesses? Well, they think they own businesses, but debt slaves are business owners. Did you guys know that? Don't think because a person owns a business that they're doing something right or they have money. That's not true. They could just be they can be in debt personally, mortgage, credit cards, and then on the business side they have a business loan, business credit card. They're still debt slaves. That's the best kind of debt slave to have. A debt slave who's a business owner that is in personal debt and business debt. That's the best kind of debt slave to have. That debt slave is locked in. They're going nowhere. Why do you think to prepare? I know. I clearly see that. It's happening now. I know it's happening. You guys, like debt slaves, you guys are doing so many transactions. I hear it all the time. This is what I hear all the time. Hey, don't give a person a chat, use a because YouTube takes away fees, when you do a chat. Do it through CashApp. They don't take away fees. Well, you think that's just free? You don't have to pay nothing? You don't think you have to pay taxes on all the transactions? You better, but listen, people that use CashApp, Venmo, the owners of CashApp and Venmo, they report all of their business earnings and transactions to the IRS every single year, probably quarterly. It's probably more like quarterly because they make billions. Everything. It's like, put it this way. Imagine how much money they make off of instant transfers of money from your Cash App to your bank account. Hell, my personal bank is doing that. When I want to transfer money, they say, hey, do you want the money instantly tomorrow for $10? Or do you want to wait 3 days and it's free? I always click wait 3 days. I'm not in no rush to get the money. I don't even want to give away $10. Sometimes it's convenient. Maybe I do need to get it right now, and $10 is not a big deal. $10 is not really a big deal. It's more like the principle. That's how Cash App does. Cash App, hey, you want to transfer this money now, or you want to buy tomorrow, or do you want to buy Tuesday of next week? Some ridiculous, stupid. That tells you that they can just push a button and transfer the money to your account instantly if they really wanted to, but they might as well get some money from it. Interest. Think how many people leave a balance on their Cash App. They get interest off that money. When you leave it in your Cash App or you leave it on a Cash App card, they get interest on that money. That's free money. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of responsibility to do that. I wouldn't want that kind of responsibility, but whatever. LJ, you could use Zelle. It's usually within minutes. Transfer is free. I mean, there's a whole bunch, I have to start under with my other business, I deal with CashApp and I think Venmo. I don't think I have Zelle, right? But anything that debt slaves or people use to transfer money, I have to understand it. It's like it's just a new way of doing business. So if that's the way it works with Zelle, hey, I'll do it. But I just don't like. I think Zelle was Zelle the one I was trying to do the other day, but they require a debit card or something like that. I just don't want the. I don't know. I don't like doing that for some reason. They want you to input your debit card inside of it. Well, then again, you got to transfer. I don't know. I always wait. I have enough monies in my account. Exactly. Just wait. Just wait. The only positive thing about debt slaves is that they're good for the economy and help stronger debts. Well, you got to remember too, Anonymous, our economy could not exist without debt slaves. They are the main engine. It's not us. It's not the small percentage of us that understand that capitalism. I mean, it works hand in hand. Debt slaves could not be in an economy without us, and we could not have an economy without them. But the only benefit about that is that we know that and they don't. Debt slaves don't know that this economy could not exist without them. Without them believing that you can buy houses with mortgages, the housing market wouldn't exist. They wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be here. So that would mean all these houses that are being built wouldn't be built because they would know, debt slaves know they have no money to buy them. So they wouldn't do it. You see what I'm saying? So the housing market wouldn't exist. That would be bad for those of us that know. That means, that's a problem that we get no money. You think Apple if people knew that you can't buy an Apple iPhone if you don't have the money to buy it, you think Apple would be as big as they are? No, they wouldn't be as big as they are. They're big as they are because people finance their product. When you hear a news statement, this is all you got to think. You just got to think outside. You got to look at the obvious, okay? When you hear on the news that the average person doesn't have $400 in their savings account, and then you go to Apple, you go to their website, look up a phone and see how much a phone costs. You get to go to the biggest, baddest. That thing's like $1,500. So if the phone is $1,500 and the average person doesn't have $400 in their account, that means they're financing a $1,500 phone. If the average debt slave don't have, you guys really don't have no money. That's just a made up number too, to make you guys feel something, right? If you don't have $400, if the average debt slave don't have $400 in their account, right? And you see people walking around with iPods in their ears, that means they finance the iPods, the earpods, or whatever they're called. What, not iPods, earpods, whatever. All you gotta do is this. This is all you gotta do. Anybody that has an iPhone, see if there's a carrier's name on it. See if there's a Verizon on there or a T-Mobile or AT&T. 9 times out of 10, that phone is financed. That's why it's branded. You can't brand a debt slave. That's illegal. You own debt slaves through products. Verizon can't stamp Verizon on a debt slave. That's illegal. You can't do that. So they put it on the phone. So now that shows all the other manufacturers that this debt slave belongs to. As soon as they see their phone and Verizon on the phone, that tells all the other phone businesses that this debt slave belongs to Verizon. If they didn't consume, it wouldn't work. That would be bad for everybody. I want you to explain it. I love this system. I'm still learning it. You guys don't really understand how beautiful this system is. When you understand that capitalism is psychological, it's amazing. It opens up everything. It just, and then when you look at like history financially, you're like, oh, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. If they don't work, they don't pay taxes. Then society, as you know, it crumbles. All of it is bad. I'm just here. You know, you probably think, well, LJ, you're here to, what do you mean? What you're teaching is to be, no, I'm here to help people come on the positive side of the economy. You can come to the positive side and you can participate. You say, if you want to sell houses and to debt slaves that finance them, go right ahead. You don't become a real estate investor and tell all your debt slaves that you can't really buy a house with no mortgage. You won't be in business anymore. So you sell it to them and but you just don't do what they do personally. You just don't do it. Your house is owned. You own your house. And this is what I strongly suggest. So it's, say like you're a real estate person, right? And you understand that capitalism is psychological. This is what I would do. I would tell people that I have a mortgage. If I sold property, because the first thing debt slaves always that they like to ask, oh, do you have a mortgage? You just say yes. Because they always like to do that. Well, what kind of mortgage do you have? How much did you have to put down? Just make up a story. It doesn't matter. It's business. It's not personal. If they ask you that question and you say they're looking for a mortgage and they turn to you, you have a mortgage, you say no, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, what? But you want me to get one? You'd be like, yeah, I got a mortgage. Oh yeah, I put 5% down. I got this and that, and just make up some shit. Don't get involved if you want to create a successful business in real estate. You don't tell them that. No wonder only 5% are debt free, while 95% are debt slaves. Without them, the economy would crumble down. They're brainwashed. And it's less than that. It's less than 5%. I want people to really understand something. I say 1%. Andre says 0.5%, but that counts on what you're talking about. Are you talking about the world? Or are you talking about the United States? Because psychological capitalism is worldwide. If you go the world, it's even less. If you just use the United States, 0.5, 1%, I don't know. All right, man, it's 3 hours, man. Shit, my neck's starting to hurt. I know my woman's up by now. I got to read what NC Big sent me. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Appreciate it. Share if you enjoyed the show. Share the live. I'm here. Keep the stories coming. I love the stories that you guys send me on email. Shout out to all you people that send me cash apps from if you're listening in the car, my cash app is SavingsMinusDebt. Thank you for the cash app. People that send me cash apps after watching a video that might have moved you or taught you something. I really appreciate that. I want to let you guys know that. I really do appreciate it. Shout out for the Nick for the $9.99 super chat today. Much appreciated. Andre, always is welcome. Gabriel. Man, I wish you, especially all SMD family members, I wish you all success. I can't wait. I'm excited to hear about you guys' stories of success and multi-millionaire money. And I'm looking forward to one day SMD get-togethers, meetups, man, to share the stories of everybody, kind of put a face, because everybody knows what I look like, put a face to everybody, it's different ones. It's different when you guys all know what I look like, right? Put a face to everybody's name and share the stories that you do in life. Is shout out to the young parents that still have young children that have acquired this SMD knowledge. You guys still have control over your children's minds, that you can mold them as they grow up and naturally put this into their brains, to where this is the way we live. They will naturally know that this is the truth. Imagine being as a child, right? Then I'm gonna go. Being raised with psychological capitalism knowledge. This is just the way it is. Preparing you to two parents preparing you for the world of debt slaves. Preparing your child to be prepared for what they're going to encounter in a world full of debt slaves, what they're going to try to make you do, the cheaters, the scammers, the people that don't know, thinking credit is everything, blah blah blah. Imagine your kids growing up knowing that they're going to, everywhere they go, they're going to be like, yeah, my parents told me that you guys were going to be saying that. They told me that you're going to try to make me feel a certain way, try to say I'm throwing away money on rent, all this other stuff, whatever, gas versus electric cars, whatever. My parents already prepared me for that. Yep, sure did. They already prepared me. They're going to know as soon as they have children, they're going to open up life insurance policy plans on their children as soon as they're born. Teach them what is the reason for this particular insurance policy getting you when you were born. Pass to your children. Can you imagine how much insurance policy would be worth if the insurance policy was purchased at the time of their birth? Can you imagine? Imagine. We'll make it happen. That's going to happen, Omanike. I promise you that. That is most definitely happening. Most definitely. Appreciate everybody for staying on for 3 hours, man. That's a long time. But when you love it and you enjoy what you do, and the people that catch it later, congratulations, do that too. But thank you, everybody. You guys have a wonderful Sunday. Later.